ain't no sugar coated love. Yeah, this ain't sugar coated love. This ain't no sugar coat, but I'm flying so high. I don't even know if I'm coming down. You rock my boat when you hold me so tight. The world just disappears in front of my eyes. Just last week you called me. The way you're talking is driving me insane. Hello. Just last week you called me. The way you're talking is driving me insane. Hello. Hello. Even if we're hanging by a thread, what you said is spinning in my head, in my head. I just wanna pull you closer in this bed. Take me back into your arms, and I'll never let you down. Let you, even if we're hanging by a thread, what you said is spinning in my head, in my head. I just wanna pull you closer in this bed, in this bed. Take me back into your arms, and I'll never let you down. Let you, even if we're hanging by a thread, what you said is spinning in my head. Wanna pull you closer in this. Let you, even if we're hanging by a thread, what you said is spinning in my head. Wanna pull you closer in this. Let you, even if we're hanging by a thread, what you said is spinning in my head, in my head. I just, even if we're hanging by a thread, what you said is spinning in my head, in my head. Let's make a run together. I'll be by your side before we collide. And if the sky falls down on you, just beat it up before we collide. Let's make it last forever. I'm ready to fly before we collide. And when the sun don't shine on you, just heat it up before we collide. Let's make a run together. I'll be by your side before we collide. And if the sky falls down on you, just beat it up before we collide. Let's make it last forever. I'm ready to fly before we collide. And when the sun don't shine on you, just heat it up before we collide. say we love, we say we love. We gave it all, we gave it all. We say we love, we say we love. But we were just innocent until something better came along.
oceans to cross, then I would sail them. Welcome to the Paladins Global Series.
I finally get it because it's like a globe.
Yeah, that was from the beginning. My name is Rain Day. This is Gormizer. We had a lot of fun with that dance. Very epic. I want to be a maestro in a symphony, okay, a conductor, and I just want to just do this to that song and get it on film. That's one of my bucket list things.
My favorite thing was, I feel like cartoons and I guess even movies, they would exaggerate it, right? Like you think they would exaggerate it.
Yeah.
With all those but that's exactly how it is.
That's
when I was
how
in
it
orchestra,
is.
that is exactly how and it's only on stage
That's
too.
part
when
of the
it's
show.
In rehearsal, they're just like, okay, yeah, you need to make sure you're playing that a little bit better. I'm going to pay attention to the strings a
spotlight.
little bit more. Trombones, you can just screw off. We don't like you at all.
Oh, that's funny.
And then we get on stage and it's just all out.
The spotlight comes on and the guy gets this huge ego. It's like, da, da, da. Yeah, look at me. Come on now. Yeah, bring that in. Bring that. I just love it. He's doing nothing, but he's doing a lot. But it's also kind of funny because he's not really playing. You know what I mean? But he's keeping the beat. That is important. Let's move it on. We got standings for Europe. It's actually going to be a great day. I'm very, very excited. Blazing Stars are 2-0. But you see those two teams tied down below at 2 and 3. Authority and Clown Fiesta are going to be playing each other in our second matchup, and that's going to determine who takes the lead, who gets the head-to-head win, and that will be important for this league series, this series style. Underrated, of course, will be playing against Blazing Hussars to start, and that is going to be, not an underrated matchup. I'm excited to see how they perform against what has clearly been the top team so far in EU.
Being able to come down to it, like you said.
Yeah.
The big one's going to be match number 2, mainly because when it comes down to HRX qualifiers and being able to actually get to, I guess, the big stage, or even just coming to land at all.
Don't you dare say anything about that. No. We've been told
mentioned it.
not to talk about anything with that. There will be blog posts coming out, and everyone has said every different thing. I'm not even going to take a chance.
The match matters.
Not even going to take a chance. All these matches matter. That's a good way to go about it.
That one matters.
That one matters too.
Maybe a little bit too.
As well.
A little bit more.
All right, let's head into the maps for game. Number 1, underrated, and Blazing Hussars with their bands across the board. Woke up feeling good today. Had a little fun last night playing some Mad Max Tyra. Absolutely
Mad
enjoying
Max
that.
Tyra.
You
It's been a long time since I've even explored the life steal
yeah,
talent for her, just because it
Ton
was
of
one of
fun.
those things where it's like, well, Burn Monster's so good.
is.
Once Burn Monster was there, it's like, why bother with lifesteal?
Then
And then
Hunting
now
Party.
Hunting Party, and it's like, why bother with lifesteal? But it's still fun.
It's still really fun, and it still is really good in 1v1s, and it's really good to style on people with, and it's just an interesting look. I love things that bring diversity to the game, and for me, experimenting with talents is what makes this game an endless zone of fun. By the time you finish Tyra's talents and discovering that, new champion comes out. You're like, oh, okay, cool. All this time with them. And then maybe you become what is it called? What is Drogos' fourth ult? Reign of Terror Drogos player.
I've tried it 2 games. I've played 2 total games of Reign of Terror.
How did that go?
The first game, it was still pretty buggy.
Okay.
Because there were certain things that just weren't working with it, or they would work sometimes, wouldn't work the next time. The second game, I was like, why am I running this talent? I'm actually ruining the game for my teammates, and so I stopped.
So what's interesting, too, here, Gore, is Koga should be available. As far as I know, Koga should be available, and he's just being unpicked, unpanned. Until the very end. They are setting up for more of a triple DPS style, but this is EU things. And here's where I anticipated the draft and bans to be for Koga. I know Console was banning him out, but I think it's one of those champions that we see does not translate the same way it does the console to PC. Yeah. And I do not think you're going to get EU to stop banning Makoa, stop banning Khan, stop banning Torvald just for Koga. They're not going to react that way. It's going to almost have to be proven, in my opinion, or done by Na'Vi Fnatic type style teams before they say, okay, now it's worth a ban, now it's worth a pick. The Tyra picked up yet again with a life exchange Ying. I'm excited to see how this one turns out. Can underrated pull out the unexpected win against the top team in EU right now, Blazing Stars?
Honestly, I think they have a decent chance of being able to do so. They've got a really good draft up, and of course, if there's going to be any players that are able to do it, I mean, we've seen Hayes and Unisassel have a lot of success in the past. Being able to put them on a lot of really big carries, I think is going to be able to carry that team potentially to the top.
You know what? It's interesting. We see these cores of teams, sometimes with 2 frontline or like a frontline flex and a support, which is maybe where you'd look at like a Fnatic, right? Where you'd look at like a Jera and a Bugsy, right? Being the core with Theo, And those are the old school guys. Pacheco,
Yeah.
Bittner throwing here. With second, with Nino, and with my man who we were just talking about, I kind of will find his name again. Hayes. That core is interesting because it's 2 damage players and a support. So you don't really have the front line. You have that kind of flexing around. But already, Jopi finding a fantastic kill on the Closar. This is a big, big potential snowball. He unfortunately goes down to Graffies, who's a great player himself. Tutu finds the kill onto Hayes, and he's controlling the upper balcony now. Nino has to get out, but hits a couple of shots on his way. And this Solar Blessing, oh, wow, gets Zerini back to full health. That was a big, big play.
And Zerini just going to be able to sit there and soak up as much damage as he possibly can. Unfortunately,
Or not.
I will say Nino Sassala is in this awkward area of if he aggresses, he's going to get turned on. He can't really get as aggressive as you want to as Androxus.
Right.
But at the same time, you need to be more aggressive. So you really have to like just ride that thin line of am I about to die or not, and be careful. Unfortunately, with Jopi dying a little bit earlier on, they lost a lot of their pressure. But Underrated has stood on the point to get 60%.
Yeah.
So they're at least going to be able to hold that, and Zerini's back.
Stonekeep is not a bad map for Death and Taxes Leon, especially with Manifest Destiny. You can get to Cathedral all the way down to the lower side like this very quickly. You also have a lot of vision onto people so that you can apply with Grace and Valor multiple stacks of the Cauterize 3. Problem is that this combustible Drogos just keeps pushing them back out, Gore, and if they can't get back onto the point, Zerini is going to have a hard time capturing it. That's just the way, you know, physics kind of work.
And this is just why Graffies right now has actually been so important. Actually being able to get through. Nina Sassala is alive, but he is incredibly low. Won't be able to take the boxing match between the Drogos. Ying did pop her ult already, going to be able to get a lot of healing there for Blazing Stars.
I think this is going to be Underrated's point, honestly. I mean, they have just a really good composition. Closar dies early, and I think that's what kind of tilts things their way, and all of a sudden they're fighting from behind. They can't take down Zerini well enough, and Nino's having a good game, and I think it's going to be Closar going down yet again. Nino with a double. Yeah, this is going to be Underrated. I love it.
I think as long as you can keep that Drogo's on lock, you're going to be golden. That's kind of the big thing.
That's
Blazing
the key,
Stars
yeah.
have been playing around that. They're keeping Closar kind of locked away where he is going to be safe. If you try to aggress into him, you're going to get met with a Zen or a Tyra. A lot of damage is going to be dumped into you. And right now, Leon, as well as the Androxus, aren't really going to be known for their best ability at taking down those two. On the other side, Willow maybe can go in for it, but it's still just this awkward engagement, whereas Drogo's the entire time just laying into the Inara.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's the thing. The Inara is going to, despite how crazy it seems, with Solar Blessing, be able to survive any amount of damage Drogos throws at her, except for a Dragon Punch. And that's where this can turn around in round 2. We didn't see the Dragon Punch have a big impact in round 1. Obviously, ultimates do need to get charged, but at that point, it was kind of done and dusted. So the Dragon Punch in round 2 might just change the tide. It could get Toot set up, get Zerini out of the battlefield very early, and hopefully, Closar can make it out alive. If he does so, I think he's the win condition for his team.
Nice couple of shots right there. Graffies going to be able to clean it up. And this has been the big thing. Leon is taking the brunt of damage, I think, for everybody on this team, because Underrated has to have someone who's getting that poke.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be Jopi kind of poking his head out, looking for a couple of shots. Nino Sassala can come in and clean up on him, but you can tell he's a little bit more timid. A Cursed Arm comes out, not finding anything, not even in terms of damage.
Right.
But they are going to get a little bit of pressure off of that, and there's Tutu.
I think that's what it was for, really trying to find a kill, sure, but to zone out. Zerini's low. He needs a Solar Blessing, and he doesn't get it. Oh, he does. And he also gets the push. Beautiful stuff. And, you know, look at that. Zerini absolutely playing, like, just lights out with second. I absolutely love the way that this core is operating. And so far, Nino is utilizing that new punch quite well on the Androxus.
5-1-5 so far. He's not necessarily going to be highest on the damage charts, but I feel like that's kind of the way Androxus is. The damage he has, even if you take off the bit of it that's used for poke, a lot of it does kind of convert, and that's going to be, 4 of those kills that you see on the Closar. His deaths are going to start racking up. Between Jopi and Nino Sassala, that's a lot to try and keep him under control, and that's why the range battle is so important here.
Yes.
And also why it was important for Blazing Stars to try and play Protect the Dragon, because otherwise, he's not going to be able to do anything. He's not going to be around for any fight.
I agree. 5 minutes, 19 seconds left. Blazing Stars, all ultimates charged, except Leaky Boy. Are they going to have to go into the Illusory Rift so early? My gosh, Nino Sassala puts a lot of pressure on Graffies. There's that ultimate from Yang. And Nino again, I mean, what else can you say? It's just being outplayed.
This is going to be the big one. Kamaker kind of get a couple shots. Nino Sassala is low, so has to fall back. but you just go back to your Fury. And again, Zarini is standing alone on the point. Whenever you need to, a Solar Blessing comes in, probably with an enhanced radius. So even if you're a little off, this Inara is going to be able to pick up the healing. And finally, Drogo's focusing at someone else.
That might have done it. I mean, now Jopi's under pressure. Yeah, that's tough. Underrated, gonna find it still, though. All this fighting happens. Are you kidding me? No one looks at the point. They get the kills, but they don't get the objective. Underrated. They're playing the long sting there, and it works perfectly. Blazing Asars, wow, gotta be shooting themselves in the foot with a rocket after that.
And the bad thing is, it's not just, oh, we won the team fight. It's, we dropped 3 ults to win this team fight. Like, we pushed as hard as we could to try and take control of that and then lost the point.
My God.
Now we don't have our ults. We're not even getting any charge up right now for the next few seconds. Underrated just to get to come back, get on the point, and go for it. Faye Flight can be going up into the air, just kind of looking for a little bit of zoning, just trying to get the payload moving, but also going to be able to take out some of those Ying clones. Just get a little bit of spread across all members of Blazing Asars.
Honestly, this doesn't happen unless Nino Sasala pops off in that corner with Graphies. I mean, the Zen, you have a Koga available who does pretty well on this map, but the Zen, obviously, I'm a big fan of Zen. I like the fact that they went to him, but there are other options, and what's happening is that the Zen is not playing very well into the Androxus. This duel, this 1v1, is not being managed well by him because not only does he have a counter, right, in Zen, but Androxus, he has a reversal as well. That does damage back to you and a little bit more reliably from range. And so Graphies has to pick his battles, and it's not an easy matchup to just run at you, which is what Zen really excels at, just running at people who can't deal with the amount of health, sustain, and maneuverability that he has.
Curse at Arm going to be popped once again. Not going to be finding too much, but again, just a little bit of zone, a little bit of pressure. Klosar is now kind of locked down in a room, doesn't know where he can look, tries to fight Androxus, tries to fight Leon, and either way, it's not a winning battle.
Klosar getting low as well. Nice presence. Oh, it's going to hit the Valor as well. This is huge. Cauterize coming through, and Jopi, wow, he has been so fantastic today. Underrated are the low-seeded team in the PGS right now in Europe. Blazing Asars have not lost, but it looks like they're going to lose game 1. Double kill, trying to make it 3. Oh, Underrated. Nobody's underrating you now. Toot gets in there. But Jopi says, you can go ahead and scoot, because I'm going to go ahead and salute loot to make sure that I get this loot, which is this W.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
I think
that's how most people say
That's
it.
exactly what Underrated not only need, but like to be able to keep this up. Again,
That was awesome.
We were talking about match 2, but if Blazing Stars lose this one, they go to 2-1. You see Underrated go to 1-2, which isn't going to be the best score. But then no matter what, someone else is going to be 2-1 after the day. When someone else is going to be 1-2.
Yeah.
It makes it so instead of like 1, these 2 tied, this one's just behind. Everyone's going to be a little bit more muddled. 2-2.
It would spice things up, wouldn't it?
1 game away.
It would spice things up. I'm excited. This is going to be close. I mean, this is a best of 3. If they can get this next one, Underrated are going to take this set.
And I think it is important. So we're going to Jaguar Falls, and this is the thing about best of 3s that I think makes the biggest difference.
Right.
All the maps are usually the ones you're going to. Like, unless you ban, like, Bright Marsh, Frog Isle, your Stone Keeps, your Jaguar Falls, you're probably going to go to one of those 2. You're almost guaranteed every time.
Absolutely.
So everyone knows these maps well. Everyone knows how to play them. It just comes down to how well can you draft, and evidently Blazing Asars recognized what was really strong there and get rid of the Androxus.
Yeah, the Androxus was strong, but it was a lot of layers. Don't fool yourself on what you just saw that was the kind of highlight. It was the fact that Jopi stayed alive throughout the entirety of that last round. Jopi was applying Cauterize 3 to everyone. One of the biggest problems about that Death and Taxes Leon is it just tilts things in your favor because your healing is almost non-existent when she is alive. That's why she has to get taken down. Graphies spent a lot of his time on Nino, and unfortunately the Androxus won that battle, so Graphies has to go back to the drawing board. Blazing Asar is actually going to allow, and this is actually through the ban of the Androxus, the Makoa to take first pick, but they give up the Leon and the Inara.
They might be giving up Fury as well. Depends on Blazing Asars, I guess, if they want to go for that. I feel like it works.
Wow, I'm
It's a
surprised.
very weird area because she works really well with certain point tanks. I feel like Makoa and Nara fall into that area perfectly fine. Barrack as well. But not being picked up right there, I wouldn't be surprised if Underrated immediately scoop that back up.
I think this is just them saying that we don't want Fury. I think this is just them saying we prefer maybe a Damba. We prefer maybe a Ying. Veliki Boy has been playing the Ying earlier in Stone Keep. So why would you not pair that with Barrack, who is one of the old school front lines that pairs best with Ying? It's like a fine wine and cheese. It's the deployable Nightmare and the Talus. Oh, this is not expected. This is not expected, but it might just work because of that.
I'm kind of curious. I think yeah, Ying is going to be the one that comes through. So having
Wow.
all of that, it's a very solid composition. It's actually really good on Jaguar Falls as well because you're looking at something mainly because of the way the point is formed. The deployables are going to have a lot more hiding spots. The turrets are going to maybe take a lot of the brunt of the damage, but Ying's illusions are going to be sitting off to the side and the back with life exchange as well.
Right.
That's going to be just a ton of healing dump onto Barrack.
The only issue is this Drogos is the perfect champion to deal with it.
And no one's
if they didn't have the Drogos, I'd say amazing. We're going to go into the game. We're starting in about 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. So we're already mid-set, but we are apparently seeing that Underrated have taken the first objective. If you weren't surprised already, get surprised now. Underrated now 3 points away from doing it.
I don't think I've seen a team more aptly named than Underrated as of right now. Drogo's looking for a couple of shots. Hayes going to be pulling this back, and Hayes has been a blaster master from days of yore. It's one of those things. He used to play
Days
Pip
of
a
yore,
lot,
I love it,
and
yeah.
so as things have been going on, it's not a big surprise to see him pick this up.
Absolutely.
And again, it's just looking comfortable. Nino going to be going around on the back as the Zen. And as long as they can get a little bit of pincer pressure, that's going to be so much of opening for this point.
I mean, Graphies, I don't know what's happening, right? I don't know what's going on, but I'll maybe talk about it a little bit later. But the Talus pick is definitely interesting. I think the Willow, obviously, for Klosar is working. He was on the Drogos, piloting that to give him the blasters. And this time he has stabilized. 35 seconds left. Underrated captured the objective. But let's take a look at the overall credit value. Let's see some of the kind of damage to take a look at who's been really dominating, maybe what this was all about. And it seems like, you know, Hayes really was the one who went off, and it's the blasters in battle. Klosar, Hayes, both with 5 killing blows. 2 and 3 in damage, and Leon, yet again, topping damage, but also staying alive, a relatively limited amount of deaths for how valuable she is for this team.
And I think it's really important to point out that Hayes has gone for Haven, so he is looking at this Talus as like his direct counter, the one that's going to be taking care of him. Same with Kamikar on the Barrack. And as long as he can stay alive throughout some of this, I mean, 5-1 and 2, that slash line starts looking really good. Unfortunately, with everyone dying around him, once you lose your front line, there's just not enough pressure to really hold on to it. So Underrated actually going to lose. It's weird to say this, their first point of the set.
That's pretty incredible, isn't it?
I mean, if they can just have the performance they've been having around the points, then they're not too worried about it.
5 points in a row, but it's okay, I think, in terms of settling down once you're on Jaguar Falls. 1-1 feels still very winnable. Hashtag winnable in the chat. Graphies here. Inner Strength is his choice, and he's going to be running Haven as well. Obviously, diminishing returns will impact that, but I think with Inner Strength and the loadout that he's running, he can get around 48% in terms of damage reduction. Under that 50% health threshold, which is very big. You're basically doing half the amount of damage. It's essentially an R. It's a smaller NR with a lesser health pool. Talus doesn't have any health cards to augment himself, getting more health. So he's working with 1900. So it's not the ideal 50%, right? I mean, it's, what, 950, right? Something around there where you're basically at your 50% threshold. So not a lot of health to work with. But a Drogos Rocket's going to hit you for 420. 425. It's not bad.
Everything if the punch comes through, although he's actually going to be pulling back a little bit there. Nino gets into the back line. And this is big because Talus, look at all of the uptime he's having, or I guess the downtime he's having. He's not getting anything accomplished. He goes for the ult, but I don't know if it's going to be worthwhile.
That did not look like he had anybody set up to kill. I like to use that ult, and I think we've seen it most effective when you know someone's low, when you can lock him in place, when you can guarantee that kill. He's the one who dies.
Ooh.
Big trade, though, from Klosar, picking up the slack for Blazing Asars. Huge, huge mid-air shot onto Hayes, and now Nino Sasala will fall to Toot. Much better champion for him to play aggressive. A little off on the seedling throw, but 57% and now 63 and counting for Blazing Asars.
It is not often that you get to see, I want to say like air battles overall, when you have both of them going to be floating around. A nice shot right there, going to be able to get a little bit of damage spread. But Zerini on the point is really all you need. Furia is the one that's necessary, but it's not going to be able to get the heal, and that's unfortunate. Zerini goes down, that's going to lose all presence on the point.
And that's the difference. That's why Solar Blessing it's so good. But they're in comms, guys. These are basically pro-level players or right below it, and he still misses. It's not an easy talent. You cannot be blaming the healer or the front line. It is just a hard thing to guarantee you'll hit. That's why Solar Flare is a must card in that loadout for the increased range.
It's just because of the travel time too of the beam, right? If you're standing on the point, you say I need heal on point. He throws the heal on point, but you have to get out of there before you die. It's just one of those trade-offs.
Right.
Do you think you can live long enough for that heal to actually land on you? Actually, doesn't look like he's going to be running the Solar Blessing this time around. Looks like it might be Cherish. It didn't seem to be sitting around, but he does have Light Force, Light of
Well,
Dawn, so he's focusing a little bit more on Kindle Soul.
Yeah, if he's gone away from it, because we didn't look at the talent, so that's true. We're just assuming. So if we do take a look at the talent screen just really quickly and see what Second has, it is... No, it's a Solar Blessing. Gosh, Gore, what are you doing?
I just feel like it's been walking past people, but that time it does finally stick.
Yeah, sometimes in the spectator it will be green, and it is not. I think that may just mean, you know, what team we're spectating from or where we started the game, what position we started from. But I see what you're saying. So it is still a Solar Blessing. Everything we said still applies. I was going to be like, still true.
But he still is focusing. It's the shield that really comes down out of it as well. So if he can get this healing, difficult to aim. Doesn't look like he's running what we've seen a couple of people run, which is a 50% increase radius. I don't think that's something that you really need to look at that high.
No.
20, 30% is going to be enough right there. And again, it's just going to increase, or it seemingly increases travel time just because it's covering such a wide range. But unfortunately, you do still have to have, it's difficult to aim, especially at the tail end.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to move in, maybe find yourself in a better position. As of right now, they just get pushed out.
Oh, but the cover, it's so perfect, and it just buys a little bit of time. It buys maybe a second of time for Second to stay alive. He's going to get back to base. That's huge. Doesn't have to deal with the 12 seconds that he might be spending away from Zarini, but Zarini's going to fall and say, hey, I thought we were going to base. You're missing your Solar Blessing. You know, I'm going to base. You're staying alive. We got to work on the communication here. And I think Underrated now feeling the pressure for once in this set. Blazing Asar is blazing through. Closar with a big kill on a Jopi. Can they sustain against these three frontline presences of Ying, Talus, and the Makoa?
And that's going to be the big difficult task at this point. Toot playing this corner relatively well. I'm looking for a hook to potentially displace Zarini right there. Gets pulled in, although Inara, not necessarily the best target, actually getting turned around. Makoa takes more of that damage. Toot has to fall back.
There it is.
It's just enough.
Toot makes it 2-2. So, you know, how are you feeling about Underrated's chances to go and take this set?
A lot better than I did coming into it. And it was just one of those things that I, like, partially forgetting who had been playing on the roster, but also just looking at the way things had gone. The other teams they've played, Clown Fiesta as well as Authority, if both of those teams so far have been beat by Blazing Asars, usually you can kind of assume, well, Blazing Asars should beat the team that is beating everyone else at this point. But because of the way that they're approaching this, the way they've drafted as well as the way they're playing,
right?
It feels less, I guess, like bursty. Like, it's not just one person popping off that's changing it. The team is actually playing genuinely well together. And it is because you have 5 players, honestly, that have been around the scene for a while. And it kind of feels like they've got everything under their belt. They're feeling a lot better now.
Closar gets hit by the presence from Leon and a lot of damage as well from Zarini. So forced off the catwalk, and now Graphies is getting low as well. Has used the Rune of Travel. Everyone on Blazing Asars has taken a defensive stance. Zarini, Underrated, still firing. Now trying to find an answer. The punch will at least buy some time, and look at Nino. This is how you use it. Graphies is going to find Jovi. Nino Sasala cannot protect against that. I love the choice from Graphies to just finish off a threat, but what has it gotten them thus far? Nino might be able to snowball the rest of this fight. No, but it is up to Hayes. No, Closar finds it, but it's still 99, and they're going to get it. Underrated again. Say, we don't care about your fights, guys. We just want the point.
And just being able to play it perfectly again. You have Furia sitting right behind Inara. All you need is that. That's the combo for the point, and then you push them into the corner. Everybody's fighting not only behind a wall, so they can't see the point, but they're engaged the entire time. Oh man, Leon's in our face. Oh, now we have this Zen in our face. Now we have this Drogo's in our face. Once you get rid of them, and because of the way they staggered it out, 100% ticks through, and Nara's just sitting there comfortable.
I mean, you know, you talk about C9ing, but I mean, they've done it twice, so is this like a C11 now? How does this work? When you just keep doing it over and over. Keep stacking on. Yeah, is this stacks? Look at that. Jopi finds a kill. Stacks on stacks. And I mean, it's just, to me, it spells complete focus and attention to detail for Underrated. Yes. This was seriously a match they prepared for and were ready to win and prove. It looks like Blazing Asars might have just fell asleep at the wheel because it's not normal for them to just let a point go from 99 to 100 without touching it, right? With 2 front lines. That's odd. That's odd. I know what they're trying to do. I know they're trying to win these fights and then go in. But man, it's just not working out, even with the Makoa.
It feels a lot like Underrated understand what Blazing Asars is going to play like, and so they're playing them by making that. Like, they're being like, well, we know if we put a lot of pressure over here, they're going to come try to fight us over here. As long as Inara, who doesn't have to worry about anything, is just sitting on the point. She's got her lazy boy, bag of chips, like she's comfortable, then we're going to be set. We can just keep everybody alive. And
she's got her lazy boy.
Who they have.
What chips, by the way?
kind of chips would Inara eat? I don't know. I want to just say Doritos because I feel like that goes more in tandem with a lazy boy.
Isn't there
Inara's not very much the kind of person who would relax like that. I feel like she'd have a rocking chair.
I feel like she would. I think there are some chips called Boulder Canyon. I definitely think she would have.
Definitely. Any rock-based chips.
Any rock-based chip she would be all about. Is she going to buy some time? Almost was able to get the billow off. Look at second as well. I mean, you talk about a Furia Gore that just stays alive for that long. It's going to be problems everywhere. I want to take a look at the damage too, because I think what this is hinging on is Haze. Obviously, damage again from Jopi is leading the charts, and that's just to me just extremely impressive because you've got a combustible Drogo shooting literally everything and their mothers at the same time, standing on the objective, and still Jopi is leading the damage charts.
Yeah. Being able to sit up at the top. I mean, he's got a lot of poke as well. A lot of these 1v1s. And it's happened a couple times, using that ult mainly to secure a kill, just to keep himself safe as well. There's been several times where, I mean, we just saw it last round. In a 2v1 scenario, all he has to do is hit Toot Toot. And all of a sudden, Graffies is no longer in a position where he can actually, like, fight back. You have to fall away, and that's when everybody kind of collapses in on him. And then a little bit later, he did the same thing in a 1v1 with Graffies. Talus just ends up eating the shot right to his face.
Well, here's the crazy thing. I mean, Closar's having a hell of a game. He's 15-7. Jopi's 9-10.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at the assists, and I'm not looking at it now, production might be able to look at it and tell me what the number of assists are. I bet it is much higher than most of the people. I know he's gotten 9 killing blows, but that's a lot going to the Drogos because he's got so much damage in those in-hands and combustibles, easy cleanup. But I think the amount of deaths he's contributing to is really what this Leon is bringing in. He's only got Jopi? Jopi only has 6 assists? No. Possible. All right, we're going to find out. 8. All right, 9-8.
Still a little lower than I thought.
Still a little lower than I would have expected.
That's still 17
it's weird.
effective kills.
And he's died a lot. I mean, to me, I'm trying to figure it out. I mean, he's clearly top damage for a reason.
Yeah.
He's found himself, with Death and Taxes, being able to contribute. I mean, I find myself just kind of marveling at how you can be 9-10 top damage, beating the Drogos, not have more killing blows, not have more assists, but also be dying more. I think if I saw him having very little deaths, I'd be like, oh, that's okay. He's alive all the time, so he keeps just doing it. But I think he's just making value out of the presence. I think he's just playing well when he has the opportunity to. And those little things, not missing your shots on Leon, like that is going to make a very big difference.
Well, now the big question is going to be whether or not Blazing Osiris pays attention to the point. Jopi is going to be the immediate target, and Zarini taking a lot of damage from the sky as well. Hayes going to be able to get a kill, though, and if he can stay alive, no, he's going to fall down. But that's still 42% for underrated.
Dude, he's going to trade out. Zarini, oh, so close. Kamiker finishes him off right before the Solar Blessing gets there. It's 3-3, and Kamiker is found too. They've taken the aggressive stance this time, underrated. But what cost have they paid to do it? They still have the Illusory Rift, and they still have the Dome Shield. Kamiker getting very, very close to just poking somebody out to where they don't feel comfortable, but Zarini runs into Toot Toot. Hayes, how much damage can he do? 3-3 goes the score. Can Blazing Osiris keep this set rolling? There's the Dome Shield, and now Zarini's taking so much damage. The zone is a veteran zone, and, you know, they're not going to get back. Blazing Osiris aren't going to let this one through. It seems like they will tie it up and send this one to a best of 3.
So far, I will say Underrated has impeccable drafts to get off of the point. But once you get them off, it's very difficult to get those back on. And Nara, namely, is just impossible. Once she gets stopped, if she gets dismounted, if you hold her back just a little bit, she does not run very fast.
And I mean, you got to give it to Closar, who takes down Zarini, applies the pressure. I like Graffies' decision to get aggressive early, and I think it was just a general Blazing Osiris decision that we were too passive in the first point fight. Now we need to make sure that we make some adjustments, and they did. And that ends up giving them the opportunity to play for one final map. I don't know if I expected this, guys. I really didn't. I thought we were going to see Blazing Osiris continue blazing through Europe, but I'm super excited to see Underrated continue to perform. Serpent Beach is the final map where this will be decided.
One of the things about that map that really comes to difference, and this is something that you typically can look at for sets when they feel closer, especially than you expected.
Yeah.
The first one's a 4-0. Second one's a 4-3, and Blazing Osiris win. It's like a very narrow win. This one, especially if Underrated are able to get the ball rolling, if they can just keep going the drafts they've been going, I think they're going to feel a lot more comfortable. Khan is available this time around, though. That's going to be the big difference maker. Makoa taken off the board instead, so they're going to go for it.
Yeah, Andro banned twice. Notably, Zen has lost twice in this matchup, so there's been no game where Zen has been won. I'd be surprised if they go back to him. Honestly, I think if we were going to see a Koga, we might see him here. But it just, to me, also says that these champion pools for these players, no one's really invested in Koga too much. Not interested. Not for me. Not necessarily now. Blazing Azar is going to take the Leon away, and that's also a big deal. We're going to have to see what Jopi can bring to the table. And it's the Barrack that was taken so early for Blazing Azars that ended up working out. Now Khan, Furia, and Barrack on the side of underrated. Wow.
Nara Leon has been like the staple, like you had said, for underrated. Willow, though, is probably going to be a very great way to deal with the Barrack, being able to kind of displace. They're going to go for the Ying once again on Blazing Azars. So that's something we actually got to talk about a little bit a couple days ago, actually yesterday, where it was just like Ying is kind of underrated overall with the way things have been going. Whether or not she's actually going to start getting picked up more, Blazing Azars seem to think she is absolutely worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean,
her ult is ridiculous.
I think Europe has consistently shown that they like Ying. I think Jera has also expressed interest in Ying. It's easy when the top does it. I'm just telling you, it's easy when it permeates from the top down versus the bottom up. We don't see a lot of people in the PGS make these wild plays. We've seen them sometimes. And those players are now world MVPs like Creatives, who was one of the people in the PGS who was actually vanguarding, I think, the use of Willow is the way I'll describe it. Back in the day when no one was using Willow.
Yeah. And a lot of things
FRZ God as well
did not change about her.
Yeah.
Right? They just kind of stayed the same, and it was upon the realization of how much healing you could do. I think Furia kind of helped bring it into light, but when you're looking at healing, you're trying to find the best ways to deal with it. And you're looking at blasters, and a lot of people would look at the damage from Willow and be like, well, why would I pick Willow over Drogoz? Look at the mobility. Look at her ult, and you'd be like, man, she just feels not Drogozy enough.
Yeah.
But then you look at Dead Zone, and you're like, 100% anti-heal. That seems really good. Maybe we should try that. You don't need as much damage if you don't have to worry about the heal. The reason that burst is big on Drogoz is because he's only going to have the 75% even if he's running Follow the Sun.
Yeah.
She's just going to be able to deal not necessarily pure damage, but it's going to be a lot more over time.
Yeah, it is pure anti-heal, though. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And she's really good at dealing with a point and getting away. Drogoz kind of has to watch that fire spit. He has to be a little bit more active. She throws that seedling and just kind of starts doing the next thing. However, this is really bad news bears. Jopi finds a kill. Nino finds two. And this Victor is not something we've seen very often come out in today, and especially the fact that it wasn't picked banned. I think that maybe it caught them by surprise. It was not something on the radar, and the Ashe pick as well. Always questioning, how does this Ashe work? Will it be effective? Great headshots here from Nino. And now getting a little bit of healing from Furia. That's the Kindle Soul he needed, and now underrated. Just in a good spot. They want to zone out. Blazing Stars here. Nice Commander's grab.
Blazing Stars is fighting over here on the side. He's going to be able to toss him back. Toot so low. The reload untimed, but he should still be able to get it. He's going to be low, and that's the shot. Zarini going to be switching from point to side, but still going to be happy with his performance.
And what's great about it is that the Barrack is kind of handling the Ashe there. You know, it's like Barrack and Ashe, like they can go toe-to-toe. They both got a shield. Barrack's got the constant damage from the turrets. And, I mean, honestly, lesser health pool, but can still go toe-to-toe with that Ashe. And Zarini just wins the fight with Toot knows. That's the most important. You do have to really be careful with these Commander's grabs. Inara has no way to not fall off the ledge if she starts playing on this left-hand side. And Zarini knows it, so him and Hayes are combining for some great displacement. That really almost ended Toot's life very prematurely.
And as long as they can not only keep Inara down, but if they can keep track of this Leon, they lose a lot of presence on the side of Blazing Stars that would actually take care of the Drogoz. So he starts being able to free fire. Hayes feels a little bit more comfortable, confident, even being able to jump into certain members of Blazing Stars and potentially taking them down. But that time he takes the 1v1 against Inara, and Inara actually wins.
Yeah. It's not surprising. Inara has so much effective health and damage because she just has the time to fight you. It's really just a clock, and it starts counting down the second she starts shooting you. 225 per burst, per pellet in the burst. It's quite difficult. You can only really last for 3 or 4 bursts as a damage dealer in this game. Yeah. And that means you gotta, like, you know, shoot her more than 4 times, essentially, as a Drogoz to be able to kill her. It's not an easy race.
And that's assuming you're just fighting at range, right? If you get too close to her, then all of a sudden you're locked down. You start taking a little bit of extra kind of like thumper damage from the ground.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
A lot of this makes a big difference. So Inara, I mean, it's not often that we do see it, but sometimes she will top the damage charts. And with the way things have been going, you have to be a little bit more careful right now. She's actually sitting number 4, going to be just behind Leon, Drogo's Victor, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But right now, Barrage is going to make the big difference, whether or not it can actually push this payload forward.
Unfortunately, Ash goes into the ultimate there. Closar and Nino fighting, but oh, wow. Just takes this, I guess, hands off the wheel and allows Nino to stay alive. This is where you want to see a push on Serpent Beach because you've got 30 seconds. Even if they stall you out, even if they find a kill, which they do on the second, you have a chance. Bowling Ball resets, going to put pressure on Valiki Boy, and oh, there he goes. That's the healer as well. Both healers down. What is going to happen? Zarini is alive, and so Khan has his own version of sustain. They've got the fire from Nino, and it really is up to these damage healers. Oh, no, Closar. What can he do? He can't face off against a Khan. Graphies has nowhere to go. What? How?
9.
So close. Nino could potentially jump down, try to get the kill, but the healing's going to be coming down. Ying's going to be back. It's going to be stalled right here, but now Jopi is going to be coming through. Hayes is going to be coming through. Kill proximity or respawn proximity is going to be big here for Blazing Asars. Every kill they make is going to make a difference.
The fact that Hayes is here is a big deal. They don't have really any ultimates to stall time. They do have ultimates to displace, and that's where the seismic crash is coming. But Khan, he's able to immune himself as he's focusing on Closar, so that damage does not go through. There's a lot of commitment here, and the commitment is on the side of Blazing Asars to defend. Probably a smart move. Overall, underrated. At least save the Inflame for next round.
That was so much that just happened in the last
that was a
30
lot.
seconds. Like, so much packed right there. And a lot of it was on the back of the fact that, I mean, if Graphies doesn't make that play, if he doesn't get that first kill onto Khan, and he is one hit away. If Neo actually follows up and gets that shot, it makes such a huge difference in terms of pressure.
He's 1 health, dude. I mean, and Khan has the commander's grab, I think. I mean, I got to watch that back, but it felt like he firing line, had the commander's grab, and then Leon just probably hit a headshot. That's honestly what I think happened. He just hit a headshot, 600 health. Khan was like, I'm for sure winning this, and just died instantly. He didn't even have he didn't even throw the shield up because he thought this is free. So that was, I think, a surprise to Zarini as well. Oh, a nice overpower here. This is the angle, and they're just going to finish her off. So now what do you do on the point? Nothing? They back off.
You go. You hang out again, but this time it's Zarini as Khan instead of the Inara being able to sit there. And that Solar Blessing heal is just so good.
It is.
Especially in times, I mean, against a Willow, once that dead zone disappears, that's going to be able to fill you up almost instantly. So even if she does get a lot of damage, as long as the kill doesn't come through, you're safe.
And this is a good angle, I think, for the Willow. He's got the Fate Flight. He's going to go into it now. Dead zone is available. Wants to punish the Drogos, and he will. Closar finds Hayes. Can he get second? He's going to Wings of Wrath away. Kamiker getting low on the objective. Doesn't have the ultimate. Remember, spent it last round to defend. And that's where you have to make that call. Do I care about this defense? Do I care about winning the point next round? They wanted to defend, but they lose the point here again and lose another 300 credits down to underrated.
Closar taking a fight that did not get him any closer to his team. The way things are going, Khan is going to be moving forward. And
what a great game.
Underrated. Yeah, I mean, it's at this point, like, I mean, their team name is so perfect for them.
It's so perfect.
Right now. But they are coming through and playing lights out. As long as they can keep this up, I mean, the pressure this push is already higher than it was the last time around. They're going to be able to get this incredibly close, and that beautiful shots. Zarini is using this hit scan presence perfectly.
Tell me someone else on a front line position that can do something like that. I mean, it's so rare what Khan brings to the table with firing line, that bonus damage, the ability. He wasn't standing in Solar Blessing. Zarini's like, hey, why is this not healing me? He's like, oh, let me move to the left real quick. The ability to just by himself with the hit scan pressure and the bonus damage that increased the decreased fall off and just finish off a Leaky Boy by himself. I mean, while he's pushing, it doesn't get enough, but it puts underrated in a commanding position, and it allows them to now apply pressure, get Drogos up to the high ground without any risks being taken. And now everyone on Blazing Asars is playing defensively. There's only 1 minute and 15 seconds left, and by only, I mean there's still 1 minute and 15 seconds left.
Kamiker's kind of caught out on the side, but Jopi's going to be the one that does end up going down closer, looking for another kill. If he can get Hayes right here, and that's going to make a big difference. And a nice shot in the air, going to be able to take him down, so that's going to push back underrated relatively far, although Zarini is still kind of holding a more forward position than the rest of his team, looking for a potential opportunity.
Overpower.
To just, throw someone off the edge, maybe kill him a little bit by holding him still.
It's smart because you don't allow it a counterplay if you can kill him like that. The only issue is if you are exposed, and that way you may just want to let him go because you can't move, you can't use your defensive skills. Wow, and Toot makes the same play Zarini did, and he just finds a big kill by himself. You do not want to test an Inara, but there it is, Jopi. Hayes contribute to a few. Closar's played lights out yet again. Will Underrated collapse. Will Blazing Asars use the Ashe ultimate yet again to try and hold on here? Will they wait for the potential 3-1? I think he's going to try to wait.
He has to.
No, he's going to use it, but is he close enough to he's very, very close to being just far away enough to let that payload move.
7.
Gore, there are members here, but I don't know if they're going to go for it.
I mean, I'm looking at Hayes. He's already got a pretty big damage shot, so Zarini can come around the corner and actually make a difference right here. If he looks the right target, that's going to be good healing on the Kamikaze. It's going to make a difference. Hayes goes down. Sasala, even though he's been big, again, you don't really want to use your barrage here unless you're absolutely sure it can make a difference. And I'm confused as to whether or not Underrated, if they want to commit as hard as they can start dropping ults, but it feels like a better time to maybe just fall back.
Yeah, and I mean, they get a lot. But the real trade, again, we talk about Zarini doing so well, but then it's Klosar who just claps back. What an even matchup here between these two teams. We thought it would be Blazing Asar sweeping through this one, and we'd be excited about set 2 of today in Europe, but no. Surprises all around. What a fantastic set. Game 3 here, tied up 2-2.
81K, 5-4 and 12. So Sasala, I want to say, has had a relatively quiet game. Like, we talked about him a little bit early on because we hadn't seen the Victor for a little while, and he's doing a lot of damage, but his name doesn't pop up in the kill feed too often. When it was at the beginning of the last round, he was having an impact. The cauterize he's applying has that impact, but I expect this one to be a little bit more of an explosive start for him. Since he has the barrage, he's going to be able to start dropping that. And if Willow does go into the Fae Flight, that is something that potentially he could try to shoot her down.
And here it is. Let's see how it works. If she has the dead zone, though, he is absolutely going to lose that first battle, but not if he gets healed. And this is what's happening. He's getting healed, and now that you can't outplay that as an Aura, you're off the map. And you know what? It's nice because she has to fall down to the ocean to actually die. So it gives you a couple of extra seconds where she's just off the battlefield. Not in respawn, but not necessarily on the point. So I like it. Good choice there, and 39% counting now on the objective for Underrated.
Just trying to find it. These grenades are so impactful. I mean, look at that burst damage. Leon's not going to be able to do anything for a little while. But now the barrage, it's not finding anyone. Finally, you're going to see 2-2 drop down, but he misses every single shot.
At that point, do you just cancel it? I mean, you don't get anything in the beginning, and you miss it on the mounted Inara. I mean, these are the moments that you wish you had back. Things going well still. Zarini's commanding the objective with second. I mean, this pairing has been so deadly, and it's a pairing to look out for. Because I didn't see it. We've known second, but Zarini, the way he's playing in tandem, it's looking unstoppable. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Now 900 credits ahead. They've captured every objective in this game. Underrated. 3-2 with a chance to finally push and finish it all.
Nino looking for the flank again, but he's going to find Kamikaze, so this is probably an engagement he's not going to like. Again, when you're looking at front lines, the reason they can out-damage you in a 1v1, their health pool is just so big.
Yep.
They are not going to die as fast as you are. And unfortunately, that means when you take fights like that, especially as Nino, you have to be a little bit more careful as to your approach.
I like
but
it.
Here comes Hayes, and he's going to go ahead and press that gas pedal. There's going to be the Enlightenment, but he goes for Klosar.
You know what? I don't mind it. I mean, you trade out the two big threats in the damage department and see if your hit scan carries can make it happen. I actually trust Underrated's hit scan a little bit more because they got the Nino, they got some AoE there. Obviously, Graphius is a great player, but they've just got great healing with second onto the Furia. So the Ying a little bit more difficult. There's the overpower. They get rid of one. Oh no! Oh no! Kamikaze makes it out. It seems like maybe something went wrong. And now Klosar finds a kill on the second.
The ult going to be used by the Ashe as well, so she's going to be alive down there. Kamikaze making sure to be able to put any sort of pressure they need to. Klosar goes down once again, so everyone on Underrated still around, but Khan, Zarini, Solo finally goes down. And the question is whether or not they can not only get rid of the Inara, but maybe push her back. I
mean, just absolute tit-for-tat performances here. Graphius, no, you didn't. He almost fell off the map thanks to the combustible. Now Graphius is in trouble. He gets a rocket boot school now from Barrack. He's got the dome shield bait potentially at about 3%. 52 seconds left for this European matchup. We thought it was going to be Juggernauts versus the Underdogs. It certainly was, but it ended up being the tables turned from game one. Kamikaze now taking a lot of damage. He doesn't have the ult. He's used it. Seismic Crash is available. So is the Enlightenment. So is the Fae Flight. But with the Victor back, Is it safe to go into any of those?
I mean, at this point, it's going to be dangerous to do anything, although underrated in the same spot. It's dangerous to use your ults at this point. Yes, you could potentially get the win, but
You gotta
have
get
to
her.
be incredibly careful. You're going to have the
Oh,
Dragon
nice
Punches
block!
available as well as
Oh,
Barrage.
they got him! Zarini, Nino Sassala find Tugor. This might be it. 16 seconds left. Toot has the seismic crash, but what is he going to do? Voliki Boy getting pressured out yet again by the Khan. Commander's Grab might just be able to throw him and do enough damage to end this set. Underrated. Are they going to topple the top dogs in EU?
As they keep pushing, Kamaker's going to be back, but he's taking so much damage.
Oh, yeah,
Immediately
mama.
Barrage comes
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Zarini picks up one, Nino Sassala picks up the other.
We got ourselves an upset, baby. Underrated. You are not underrated anymore. Beautiful victory here in Europe, and the PGS kicks off in a tremendous way to start the day on Tuesday. Wow. Wow, wow. What an upset. What a victory. Congratulations to all members involved.
Now I'm worried that the second set's not going to be able to stand up to the first set.
Yeah, I mean, we're done now, right?
It's completely flipped itself
That was
over.
it. That's all we wanted to see.
It's the rest of the day. PPL's canceled for today,
It
actually.
is.
Now
Yes,
we're just
sorry
going to
about
end
that.
it here.
Sorry about that, guys.
Replay that one for the next 5 hours.
Blame Zarini. Everyone's like, what? What does that even mean?
Blames are
Fantastic game from everyone involved. And again, I was very surprised at how much it clicked. We talked about the core. We talked about Second and Hayes and Nino, and we talked about how it's a different core than we usually see, where we see maybe a frontline core of veteran guys that have been maybe playing around each other for a while. And, you know, Zarini just fits himself so well into that Khan, into that Inara, into that point presence, and then finds the kills that you need. And shout out to Toot Toot, too. Those guys were going back and forth so often in these sets.
And it really did come down to how long were you able to control the point. And that was just the big thing. Underrated drafted so well to not let go of the point that even when Blazing Stars were able to come back in, they just couldn't push them away.
Well, let's move on here. We do have another set, and this one is actually the one that, in terms of the standings, we thought was going to be the most. But now Blazing Stars have taken their first L. I mean, the winner of this is actually going to be tied for first. So they thought it was going to be second place. No, this is now you are at the top of the PGS. Let's take a look at the maps for set number 2 here today.
Now you're going to be seeing Clown Fiesta look to try and climb back up. I mean, they lost 3 members overall to the PPL, which is not the worst thing in the world when you're saying, well, we contributed 3 members now to the Premier League.
Right.
But it is the worst thing when you think, well, now we have to find 3 new guys to come fill those same spots and have that same performance, or at least something similar, is what you would hope.
Yeah, they still need some work in the PPL as well, so definitely it's going to be a transition. It wouldn't be crazy. We've seen some guys go to the PPL and come right back down. It is not for everybody.
I will fight to protect the sanctity
It's a different
of life.
beast to try and tackle. But as of
Certainly
right
is.
now, I feel like they still have a relatively good chance. Clown Fiesta as well, being able to keep, not necessarily their core, because they did lose mainly their healer, which I think is going to be someone that's staple to have, but being able to pick up a couple new players, come back in, again, not the best performance against Blazing Stars, but so far, otherwise, they have been relatively untouched.
And a little bit of a different vibe here. With the Willow and the Drogos ban, Authority are leaving a couple things open. It is the Cassie, it is the Androxus. Both Cassie's been banned for the last 3 games, actually, in this entire set. And then Androxus has actually been banned for the last 2 that we saw. Furia prioritized maybe a little later. Makoa, Barrack, Leon, Furia, decent draft here for Authority. And I mean, that's an understatement.
Being able to hold on to the point, keep control, it's going to be very much in their favor. Kinessa is my hit or miss. She could do so well
When she hits her shots.
and she can fall off like it's nothing. Like
When she
can
misses
either
her shots.
literally hit or miss
Literally
with the
hit
way
or
things
miss,
are going
yeah.
for her. So if Clown Fiesta play her really well, and with an Eevee on the other side, it's going to be difficult.
Okay.
Clown Fiesta have a lot of risk in this.
I think it could work, man. I mean, I honestly think if you shut down the Ying so she can't, dimensional link, if you get the Kinessa so she can't transport out,
Yeah.
I mean, even the Cassie's stationary, you might force an ult, or just the Inara, right?
But
Like
is
an
it Snow
easy
Globe?
target. That's a North
I'd be
American
curious.
thing. That's a North American
Oh
thing.
yeah, it's going to probably stay at NA, probably even just a G2 thing for a little while until someone starts picking it up. But it is an interesting play style. I'm kind of curious to see how, I'm assuming this Wormhole Eevee will approach the Kinessa, because it is one of those areas, Kinessa, if she can just find a really, really good headshot while she is flying at you, Zelda might be in danger because of it.
What a great PGS we've had here. Thank you, Europe, for putting on a great show. And it continues. It continues on now. Always great to see the Paladins scene growing. And I'm really glad that we have, people watching on different platforms and different ways to connect with this. Zelda is going to go with the Wormhole. And that is probably the safest way to go. Sorsa, can we look at that Can we look at that talent for Sorcerer real quick? The Cassie, one more time. Exaction. So let's take a look at this loadout because it's funny. I saw Ozone playing this on this exact map, and I was like, what? Why? Right? And I don't know if there's a real answer, but Exaction Cassie is back, maybe.
I'm trying to remember.
Being played at least.
Someone in the PPL ran it last week, and it was on Fnatic, I believe, but it might have been Navi. It was one of the two. Either way, they made it look damn good.
Well, I mean, Somersault at 45% level 3 is decent. You're still running kinetics. I mean, you're running lunge and intense training. You take out some of the cards for Quiver that maybe you'd have in like a Just Breathe or something of that more long range, just consistently fire, do the sniper roll, and the damage is decent. I mean, if you have an Exaction shot that actually somehow gets damage amped, and a lot of compositions do have that with the con or with something else, there's a lot of flexibility. And maybe this is just the lack of being able to be punished.
I mean, a lot of accomplishment already coming out of it just in terms of damage. Makoa didn't really know what to expect going into the Cassie, and that's not usually the way that engagement goes. And if you can keep fighting, I mean, look, 884, that's a big number for a lot of these health pools, especially if you're looking at shooting someone like an Eevee. That's going to take her down to 1,000. You're going to be within 2 shots, 1 shot if things go well for you.
Oh, uses the ult at the worst time to die instantly. Namphis is now in trouble. Excentra finds Limsey and Hopes as well. I mean, Clown Fiesta definitely have had authority over this point. Zelda's rarely gotten himself going. We haven't really seen him. Minchmeyer's going to stand on the point and say, hey, were you guys going to try to get on this thing as well, or is this just mine? Are you giving this up? Are you sure? Okay.
And I've seen the front lines for Authority try to crack that eggshell open, try to be able to get in there, but every single time it just blew right back in their face. It was either a Cassie, it would be Androxus, it'd be Kinessa, but no matter what, they had something that was just tearing them down on their way back to the point. And that Kinessa, I mean, the first blood was going to be on to Zelda. It was immediately a great shot coming down from this Kinessa. So again, if you can just keep a performance like that up, you're golden.
Yeah, you really can. And Zelda, I think, going for the wormhole, it gives him some flexibility, but he's also playing against more of an Exaction, like an Exaction Cassie, which means he's going to potentially blink in on her, and she's just going to be able to dodge away, which we've seen a couple of times. Avoid the kill, avoid that last hit. And Eevee is a very min-max type character. If you're not hitting that last shot, you're not getting the kill.
Looking to try and get in.
Wow.
Not going to work out too well there. Zelda ends up just falling down. And I like where his mind is at in terms of pressure. It just feels like the mobility, like he blinked from the floor to the balcony. Even being able to wormhole back, you're not getting very far away.
No.
So it's just one of those awkward moments of trying to use cover that isn't admittedly going to work that well for you. I want to see maybe a slightly different, maybe even more aggressive. I mean, blink soar into the fight, and then you can blink back really far away.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, he might need to do that because there is so much damage waiting for him, especially with the Exaction. You mentioned about half his health. One of the other things, too, we haven't seen, if you're going to run this, I mean, he might as well run big game. I kind of theory crafted a loadout that worked relatively well. There's a card that when you hit your disengage, you can reduce the cooldown of your roll essentially full. So you can actually roll in, disengage, have your roll back, and then be hitting that target for up to 1,600 damage if it's a Makoa. Like, just Ancient Rage Makoa, you're for 1,600. It's probably about 1,400 if he's, 1,300 if it's less. And the other thing is you can put Somersault in there. So you can actually have, as Stamfus finds himself a triple kill, speaking of the Makoa, 3 dash resets in terms of your first dash, your disengage dash that gives you the reset, and then the Somersault reset if you end up falling in that fight below 45% health. So, I don't know. It's interesting. I think we're going to see people experiment with Cassie a little bit more now that Exaction's been played.
I think that's been the big difference as well with Cassie. It's, again, something we've talked about with Koga, but just being able to kind of branch your playstyle. I'm still curious about Exaction, if it's going to be back or not, if people are just running it for the sake of running it, or if it is going to be that good.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I mean, I've seen her run, 2, 3 different talents so far.
Right.
And so being able to pick up things like that is going to make her a lot more personal for some of these players.
Yeah. I think Cassie is a great champion to take on that role because she's very blanket Paladins. That Seismic Crash was off the mark. Minchmeyer tried to catch, I believe it was the Leon. Ends up finding the kill anyway. But still, great job overall from both teams. Solid defense from Authority. Clown Fiesta, good push. Couldn't get it done.
In 15 seconds.
4-2-4, 7-2 and 2. So Hopes is doing the most work, right? Followed up by Exentra. Although in terms of damage, those two are going to be flopped backwards, and a lot of that is going to be Exentra can hit a shot, even if it's not a headshot, and that makes it so easy for Hopes to clean up.
Right.
And a lot of that's happening around the point fight, which is where I think the sniper is going to play the best. You have a lot of areas that you can stand where you can see the point or around the point. But once you start getting aggressive, it's very difficult to find those aggressive positionings that have the same impact.
Oh, that was an odd start for Mitchmeyer. I mean, you got to find that, and he does, luckily. Eevee not able to get up. There's a little bit of hop jump Eevee can do, and didn't do it, or at least didn't do it enough. J-Bay, look at this, 12 streak for him. Sorsa knows that he just wants to go down. This is where you just shoot him. Yeah, you get some ultimate charge. What are you doing? Get some ultimate charge, buddy. I don't know. I mean, let him take it. I get it, he's trying to, but once you start shooting him enough as Cassie, there's only so long before he kills you.
And that reduces the time you get staggered. Again, in that kind of scenario, and it depends on the champion you're playing, but there is always going to be that instance of just shoot back.
Right.
Because it's either going to be poke your team can follow up on, or like you said, ult charge you can get something that you're contributing to your side of the game, as opposed to just trying to run towards the edge. I feel like there's, again, mixed messages depending on which person you are. Like, full health Inara, you're left alone in that scenario. Shooting the guy's probably not going to do a lot. Do just go jump off the edge. Cassie, they're going to have to kill you before you kill them.
Exactly. Cassie has such a threat to it. And you talk about playing not the drill, not the idea, but playing the actual game. In most scenarios, it is better to just jump off the ledge and regroup with your team. But in that scenario, I think it was a little bit better for him to just try to do some damage. They weren't killing him fast enough, and you are on a threat. That can respond quite well. I like the idea of the Enlightenment. It doesn't end up working out. Emperor of Kato cleans that one up. 1:44 now. Authority have grabbed the point, now looking to push against Cloud Fiesta, who will defend for their first time. And Exentra needs to hit some headshots, but the Shell Shield's going to cover at least the Varric and the Fury for now.
After such a fantastic start from Cloud Fiesta, it's definitely slowed down on there. And I feel like, again, this is a good composition for aggression, especially with some of the talents they're running. It's going to work really well when you are ahead, when you're finding the kills and kind of forcing Authority to take steps they don't want to take, either going up on the balcony and forcing a fight, or if they just happen to be walking towards the point. But it feels like once they get pushed back, even just a little bit, they got shoved and they just completely fell down. They don't have very good balance, so once they do end up having that stagger come through, they don't have a lot of ability to get rid of Authority and push them away from the payload.
I mean, talk about, a tightrope there. Sorsa just on the wrong end of it. Can't quite find Dampus. 48 seconds left now as Authority looks to try to push here. They're looking to just group. I think getting a pick is important, but they also need their Leon back in business. Exentra holding down this line of sight so well, but the second he has to move from here is when things get very precarious when you have a sniper on Serpent Beach. He has to hold this. Otherwise, he just doesn't have the line of sight to play out of and stay safe. Uh-oh. They know it. They're trying to get him off there right there, but J-Bay is getting healed up and gets into the bowling ball reset as well.
This is the awkward moment. Snipers can be so impactful, but also fall off so hard on this map just based on aggression or defense. That was a good shot, but it's not going to be able to get followed up. Hopes is way behind everybody else. Sorsa does get a kill, but they're still sitting with front lines on the point.
Yeah, I think this might be it. I mean, it's just Sorsa. How much can he do? Wow.
Evidently enough.
For a man that didn't even shoot at Barrick, look at how fast they killed the Makoa. But it was also Hopes who came back, who finds the triple kill. He gets there just in the nick of time. And that big headshot, actually, was the reason Sorsa, I believe it was Sorsa, or whoever it was able to clean up the Barrick right away. That Solar Blessing went to the Makoa, and the Barrick died. So, very, very important. Even though he got pushed away, he at least contributed something before he died.
Getting shaken up. Keeping it at least 2-2. This round is going to be important for both of these teams. Neither have been able to find a successful push, but if you can capture and push, that would be a win. Although it's going to honestly be determined by the beginning. 2-8 right now. Zelda on this Eevee is not having the game of his dreams. It's not even a game that he might daydream about. Like, it's completely out there.
Yeah.
And it's all just because when he does try to get aggressive, it's these awkward uses so far of the blink, trying to use the wormhole maybe a little bit too close, or sometimes just getting caught out. You stop like that in the ice block, and you are just one shot away from dead.
Silva already doesn't have a lot of cooldowns, but the wormhole helps him to be aggressive here because he can just blink back. Wormhole did get a little bit of a nerf, and it's, we haven't seen it very much. We haven't seen Eevee very much. He's really trying to get Exentra, and he's doing his job by just forcing Exentra away. he's not necessarily needing to kill him. He just gets the line of sight, and now he finally finds the kill. This is just Authority having a great point fight.
All he needs is one more kill. Doesn't even matter if he's a part of it. They find Sorsa. They also get the Ying, which
That's it.
makes it so much easier for him. Minchmeyer not only is dismounted, but locked up. Authority, again, didn't even seem like they held their breath over that one. They knew exactly how that point was going to go when they went into it. Now the question is whether or not they can actually convert this push.
Zelda firing a couple of shots. Nice blink up. Oh, ice block just to save his life. Sorsa had him in the line of sights. Couldn't quite finish it. Wormhole is a fun thing to watch. Managing the cooldowns is important. And again, 2 seconds left. It would have been only 1 second pre 1.4 where that was nerfed. That's the Snow Globe buff, and that's why you've probably seen it used in North America PPL. Hopes has been a pretty stable threat on the side of Clown Fiesta, but it's hard for Authority to care when it's not really impacting the point fight. They just have so much frontline presence with Barrick and McCall.
Seismic Crash comes through, and looks like Minchmeyer is actually about to go down, unless healing is just going to be phenomenal on top of him, and the Inara staying alive a little bit longer than I thought. Hopes and Eccentric go down in the process. There's the Enlightenment, again, going to whiff, but Clown Fiesta are still falling.
It's a nice dimensional link. I mean, Minchmeyer's trying to just get... Oh my god, are you kidding me? You gotta hit that shot. Takes a lot of time. Beautiful wall. You made up for it, Mitch. That was nice. And J... Oh no, now you lost it again. J-Bay gets around. Mitch, very close on min-maxing some of those moments. Could have had two. J-Bay's still alive, and that's just what you don't want to see as the Clown Fiesta. Your front line, your solo front line, although it is the Inara, paired with the Ying against the two front lines and the Solar Blessing Furia, it's just a tough battle to manage.
A lot of healing in their favor, which is why things like kinetics might make a little bit of a difference, but I'm not seeing as many blast shots go onto the front line. I'm seeing those go more for this Leon, for the maybe even the Furia, but mainly onto the Eevee as well. So Clown Fiesta, I don't know where their targets are, what their priority for these targets is, but it does feel kind of disconnected sometimes. I mean, Minchmeyer was standing over there in the corner. He was getting healed, but it felt like he was doing the entire damage. Hopes has been kind of back and forth, either looking for the backline and successfully finding it, or getting pushed out to the point where he just hasn't been able to have the big fight. And there's going to be a stun onto him that should have made a bigger difference.
Yeah, I mean, no one's there to follow up, but again, that is really for healing. And it does end up landing right under J-Bay and Makoa. Danfus, they get taken care of. Hope's now here in the back line, hoping to find Ace-Dex, misses a lot of crucial shots. And now Selda knows where he is, doesn't have the ashes yet. Looking to win this duel. Oh, Selda gets the first shot. He's going to blink in, but he's going to dash up. I don't know what he can do here. Trying to fall. Good management of that, where Selda kind of caught him off guard. But now this is Selda able to zone this whole fight away. Excentra, one shot from death. Overtime ticking in now.
Minchmeyer going to be locked up between a lot of people.
Oh!
Excentra going to get taken down by Selda with a nice long-range shot. But Minchmeyer does get a kill right there, and that's going to be enough to push him back. But that does eat up so much. Seismic Crash was used towards the end, and as well as Ying, she pops her ult just to make sure they stay alive and healthy towards the tail end of that. So that's two incredibly big team fight-based ultimates, very good at point control, that are completely off the board.
True. Very true. I mean, we saw this happen. It was not a good strategy for our friends Blazing Asars, but that one was needed because it was 3-2. But in the 1-1 or the 2-1 situation, you can let that go in and save your ults, because your ults are going to give you an advantage or at least even you up on the point fight, but then you have the comeback mechanic to play out of. And then if you win the point, you get credits, which is really important, especially if you've lost the first two, to even up that 600 credit deficit that you would have basically accrued. And so I don't know. I'm a big fan of tactically letting a point go and saving ults, because although it seems bad on the scoreline, it is putting you in a decent position to turn this around.
Dash forward, and again, Clown Fiesta are getting held back. There's going to be the Enlightenment. It's going to keep you alive for a little bit.
That's
if
a
you
mistake.
can get out of there. Why is he still alive? 202.
That's a mistake.
Finally, Sorsa is able to find it, but it takes so long to get there.
Too aggressive. I mean, that just looked like somebody who wanted to get in, do enough damage to do the Enlightenment. I think he used the Enlightenment as a guarantee, as a turnaround moment. But you try to hit your shots. I mean, he just missed a couple of shots and then just went into it as a panic mode. He clearly stayed alive and could have stayed alive for a long time. Maybe Enlightenment when Sorsa thinks he has you on the ropes.
Minchmeyer is going to be in the 1v1. Sorsa rolls into damage.
Yeah, I think this is it, man.
That's unfortunate positioning and unfortunate fight taking overall. That Ancient Rage does make a big difference.
It's just a bad draft. I mean, that's what it is. When someone like that goes into the back line, literally makes a play that just gives up their life, wastes an ultimate, and you still lose the fight this poorly, I think that just means Authority have a better draft going into this. The double front line against the Inara with the Solar Blessing pocketing both Barrick and Makoa, I mean, they were fighting a losing battle from the start.
I'm going to give it, I think Kinessa in general on this map is not something that you should run as often unless you're Bugsy. In which case you can run Kinessa as much as you want on this map. And that's like
the
that is a
problem.
big difference. Like Bugsy makes it look good because he hits 3 headshots in a row. Other players aren't going to be that consistent, especially not on Kinessa, especially with some of the scope changes that had happened a while ago.
Right.
Even if you've gotten used to them, the map doesn't lend itself well for a sniper.
I'm gonna say that I agree partly. I think it is because of Bugsy. I think Kinessa and Strix are good on this map, but I think that there's the caveat of that clip where Bugsy's going off is against a Torvald. It's not against a Makoa and a Barrick. Those shields are not things Kinessa can fight into or will be able to fight into well, especially if there's 2 of them. So, I don't know. And I don't know if the Fury was on his side or their side. But either way, all those made a big difference. And let's head into map number 2 here for these games. Frog Isle will be where it takes place. Now this, what do you think about snipers here?
I love snipers here.
I do.
It's one of my favorite maps for snipers when it comes through. And Authority, if they can not only get a draft, I want to not even like similar, if they could get a draft that runs the same style, but maybe has a little bit extra range, maybe change out the Eevee for something that's going to be a little bit stronger on here, trade her out for Strix.
Okay.
And then you're going to be set. You can get yourself there, potentially tie up for first place. But Clown Fiesta, I mean, back's against the wall.
Back's against the wall. I mean, you wouldn't have expected it to look relatively easy for Authority or Clown Fiesta, and it didn't. It still was hard fought, a lot of defenses, but at the end of the day, Authority were just, well, when are we winning? Not are we going to win? The first pick, Inara, is solid here, and I think they take a little bit out of Clown Fiesta's style, and now Clown Fiesta, maybe expecting them to do something similar, might be caught off guard here. The Strix and the Eevee, both taken. I don't know if I think Eevee's worthy of a top 2 spot here.
That's kind of where I'm
Clown.
leaning on it, where it's just like, okay, I can understand. I like the idea of going for Eevee, but now you said, hey, we're going for Eevee, by the way. So go ahead and pick up anything that's going to be a good counter for Eevee, something that can deal with Eevee. It's still going to be difficult. If she gets in your face, she's not the easiest to displace. But they've already got Strix, so you don't have to pick Kinessa. You can start picking up anything you want as Authority, and you can just be like, well, next time around, our 5th pick, 4th pick, depending on which order they really want to grab it in, we can grab our sniper, but we can make sure that we get the Leon, the Ashe that we wanted a little bit more.
Maldamba selected here for Authority. And
Did they go for her?
it's Cassie. Picked every time when available. It's a very solid damage dealing pick. I mean, you could go Just Breathe here, and I think you'd be fine. 850 a shot. It's very good on this map. You do need somebody to clean it up, and you've got Ashe, you've got Leon, you've got Inara. Those can clean things up and stay present. And there's the Zen. Again, EU and their picks, huh? I like Zen. I'm telling you, I like him. But at what point? I mean, he's lost 2 games today. If he loses this one, I'm not impressed.
I'm gonna have to say, I think I would tag Cassie out for a Willow.
Okay.
And then I think I would like Authority. I think for Authority, that would make the difference between a guaranteed win and a hard-fought win. I think having the Willow, especially with a Ying and a Barrack on the other side, makes that point fight so much easier for you, because then you just drop a dead zone right there and you don't have to worry about anything. And you don't really have blaster presence right now. I'm wondering if Cassie's going to be able to kind of pseudo-fill that role with the blast shot, but I'm a little concerned with the focus they have.
The reason they don't go Willow there mostly is because of respect. It's respect, because you can see a Strix and you will go Willow if you don't feel like that Strix is going to punish you.
Yeah.
But if you see a Kinessa, you see a Strix, and underneath that player name is Bugsy, right? Or maybe Accentra here, you're going to say we can't pick a champion that is exposed too often because we will get punished. Accentra plays Kinessa on that map. He plays Strix on this map. There's no doubt in my mind they know he's the sniper guy. We have to respect at least his ability to hit shots on snipers. And I think right now we have to expect Hope's ability to carry a game. But it looks like maybe there might have been something going on, maybe with Authority here, JB with a pause. And so we're going to come back in a second and get to the game again. But it did seem like Hopes maybe had it a little easy there. I don't know.
Yeah, Danfus I mean, normally Ashe doesn't just while
Well,
a
I don't
Zen
know.
is swinging at her. So
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
kind
know.
of curious as to whether or not something was going on there. But
Zen's looking good, though.
yeah, as far as things go, First Blood is very easy to pick up. Not a lot in the game to be able to go through. I'm kind of curious.
A lot of analysis.
I wanna
Score.
say
Break
from
that
this
down.
one.
Break that moment down.
He not only was able to walk down the side of the ramp, but he was perfectly clean right there. And then you notice, I mean, 2 swings right around the corner.
That's
Immediately follows up with the third.
Yep.
That is quality Zen play.
I mean, that's really all
I moved
it is.
around a lot there.
You really did. And you know, let me just rephrase how I'm feeling about Zen. I like him. I think he's an underrated pick as far as how people are perceiving him in the PPL. I think he can fit some of those roles. But I feel like people are going to him more often than we've seen. And I don't know if that's it's in the role, it's in the mode where Tyra was for me last week, where I was kind of like, all right, prove it to me. I like him every now and then, but as your always last pick damage dealer with other options out there, I'm curious. I'm still curious. Frog Isle's a decent map, though, because he can buy time with counter and with Billow to get away from threats. And when you're trying to push on Frog Isle, part of the reason why I don't like Eevee, it's very hard for her to go to the other side of the map without getting exposed and damaged. And so Zelda has got to play very, very carefully here.
I will say,
Source, excuse me.
because of, I guess, how exposed you are, Zen is actually perfect because of this reason. He can just billow from one side to the other when he really needs to, go from cover to cover, and find himself in a relatively safe spot. It's still not going to be the safest. It's still going to be the easiest.
Yeah.
But if you can keep things rolling like this, I mean, look at this Authority. Even though they've been standing on the point, they get 90%. They just keep dying left and right.
Yeah, what I like, I mean, it's funny we just repeated each other there because that's why I said I like Zen on this map. But I think that if he can snowball, what you added to that is the other reason why I think Zen is very valuable. The ability as Clown Fiesta to take this one to control and finish a fight and then keep being devastating. Like an Androxus, like an Eevee, but on certain maps he does it a little bit easier. He doesn't have to take as many risks as the Eevee does. Sorsa can snowball a fight just as well, but he's only got 1,800 health. He doesn't really have many defensive cooldowns except the Ice Block. He's gotta wiggle and finagle his way into doing it. So far, looking pretty good with the Ice Storm there on Adamphus.
And honestly, I'm going to say
There you
there's
go.
nothing, I think, that would feel worse than trying to Ice Block in front of a Cassie, in front of Leon. That's going
Right.
to give them a lot of time to be able to find that shot. But running 2 flanks on this map
Yeah,
is, I think, the big key, because
it's interesting.
Zen's pulling the attention.
Right.
Zen's the one that's going to be exposing himself. He's going
Right.
to be the one that's out there and getting a lot of the kills, whereas Eevee, no one's looking at her yet.
Right.
She can come in just right behind him, use him kind of like his shadow as cover, essentially, to get into the fight and just charge up a little bit. And then as long as he can keep that pressure going from both of them, I think you can apply that all around and make it just difficult for Authority to feel like they actually have any pressure.
And Eccentra's really getting a lot of kills, so double kill for him. Wow, wow, wow. Really excellent stuff. This sniper is proving his worth. 10 streak. And maybe the issue here, and maybe the reason Eevee's really grabbed, is because with taking the Zen, you know, they feel like maybe the Eevee was the only other option to get to the back line. Even though it may not be the safest one, it's just, there's no way anyone has even come close to touching this Strix. Excentra, I don't think has died this entire game.
12th Street, definitely looking really solid on him. And yeah, he's sitting at 6-0-7, now 13
No
streak.
one's died on Clown Fiesta.
Sorsa
except
died
Sorsa.
once. And admittedly, if there's anyone who's going to be the easiest to kill, it's Sorsa.
I mean, my goodness. How do you feel about this? Outdrafted, outplayed? Which one?
I'm going to say outplayed. It feels like the draft is solid, but it's still, I think both sides have holes that you can poke into it. I think that Excentra playing the way he is, Hope's playing the way he is what's making the biggest difference. Normally, I would say that maybe Zelda or Lumsy in this kind of area should be able to find a 1v1 against this Zen, 1v1 against the Eevee, maybe even a 1v1 against Excentra, although that one might be a little bit more difficult because of the range. But every single time they show their head, it's either a headshot or an insta-shot. Like, no matter what, they're just getting piled into. The damage is too strong. The play is too good from Clown Fiesta right now.
Go, Ziggs.
Okay, nice shots there. That is why they give him respect. You can see it right there. This man is getting respect on his snipers, and you can see why. Beautiful headshot, and wow, that's probably the easiest shot he had to take, and he doesn't even turn into a kill. Sorsa sets him up, spills the plate. Now he's got to call cleanup. Loomsy here finally finds the first couple of kills, but now Sorsa able to snowball this fight. There's just so many threats. There's so many threats on the side of Clown Fiesta. But so far, it's Authority who have control of this objective.
Eevee right now,
Nice
this is
block.
going to be the hardest part of being able to live. There's going to be a lot of healing, though.
Gotta get
1800
Damba.
health going to go right back up, but he does slither away. And Nara's just going to be relaxing right there. The spike comes through, and Hopes is going to be able to get the kill.
But there's Danfus on the point. Authority grabbed the objective. So it really was just the aggressive play from the only person who could go and get Excentra out of this fight. And it's the Ashe. I mean, it's one of the front lines that has to do it. And it's not the Inara. She doesn't have the ability to get in and get out. Much better on the point with Maldamba. I love it. I love it. I think you are right in terms of getting outplayed, Gore. The draft can do the job. Authority just made the wrong decisions round 1, but round 2, they correct them and come storming out of the gate.
That just goes to show again on paper. Like I said, on paper, Willow, in my mind, is definitely a pickup you want. But if Excentra has that kind of game, Willow would literally not exist this entire match.
Yeah.
So it's that area of you've gone the right draft, and you are able to at least hold on, but that was comeback mechanic. Can you convert this? Is that going to make the big difference?
That's true.
And how do you start the next round? Of course, they did have a pause relatively early on, so maybe that kind of messed with Authority a little bit, but
Right.
even still, afterwards, you get a nice reset on it. There's no reason Clown Fiesta could have snowballed the way they could if they weren't just playing down.
And I mean, is Zelda really able to deal with this? Like, you know, is he able to deal with this pressure? So far, though, the front lines have just not even had a chance at this objective. My. And again, this is another, like, potential decision, right? J-Bay does get taken down, but it's another potential decision to just let this payload roll through. It's already there. The only way you're going to stop it at that point, going downhill, cramped up in your base, staggered respawns, is to use a big ultimate. And at that point, do you want to? Because the next point fight, you're not in a great position to win that.
Headshots galore, 7-1 and 10.
That was his only death that we saw.
Yeah, Flare XL, Overburn, the two cards that augment your flare just to make sure you get more vision and more people in that vision, which is what's helped Excentra at this point. Once he shoots a flare out, he's going to be able to see everyone within a pretty wide radius. On this map, I think it's the easiest to get, maybe not everyone, but 4 out of 5 members in one flare than any other. And so just being able to accompany that with the fact that he's hitting so many ridiculous headshots.
Well, he's
pretty clean.
Yeah, and he's trying to hit the headshots here, but he's also trying to make sure that no one can get to the left side. So he's trying to keep that kind of line, and it's a very difficult thing for a sniper to do, to hit the headshots, find damage that's meaningful, right? Because right now, it's 4v5. He's not doing anything. 4v5. Now he's doing something. That's where snipers trying to find their value. But it's not easy, especially when you're getting pressure applied to you. 36%. But Clown Fiesta have taken hold of the point yet again with 18% and counting now. Authorities move.
And contrary to the last map, everyone keeps getting pushes on this map. So depending on how this goes, this might be the end of the game for this round if teams can find it. Excentra finds another great shot. Danfus, though, is sitting right behind him, is trying to put the pressure on him. That flare's going to get a little bit. And if he can just hit 2 headshots, that'll be clean.
Danfus is doing everything right. I mean, he's applying pressure where he needs to. And J-Bay is finding some great kills. He just dodges Zelda's enlightenment. He's got the reveal. Danfus is here again. My God, Danfus. I mean, MVP for me if they win this. And look at that. MVP as well. Right back at you. Hopes gets rid of the threat. But there's J-Bay, who's on the point. I mean, they got to get back there. Let the Sonara go away. But the space that's been created, the intellect shown to manage this situation with the sniper with the 2 front lines and no true flank pressure. I mean, I'm really impressed with Authority right now.
Nice shot's going to be able to take Eevee out of the air. Clown Fiesta, even though that looked really solid from them, like you said, all you need is a little bit of pressure, good zoning, and committing. That was the weirdest point to see Inara in your face. You never expect that. Like, Ashe, okay, it makes sense. She's a bully. She wants to get in there. Danfus plays that properly. Once he goes down, Ashe is like, well, I guess I'm going to be the bully now, and leaves Maldamba, Cassie, Leon on the point. Not the 3 that you expect to hear holding down the point.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the Eevee also is clearly some respect, right? Because of the way that Zelda played it last game and knowing that could be rough if we're going for the sniper early. But I don't think the Eevee's as big a deal. I mean, I think maybe you let the Eevee go and maybe you snag up Leon. Maybe you snag up another priority damage dealer. Maybe you get the Inara instead. You know? I mean, at this point, you're working with a solo Barrack against an Inara Ashe. Clown Fiesta are just... It's the same thing that happened last time. They're just playing this edge. Like they're basically just saying we are on a knife's edge of performance. If we stay on the tippy top, we're gonna win for sure. But if we even go to the left half a degree, it's over.
Excentra has been like make or break, and this is going to be a break moment. He just gets taken down.
Yeah,
That's
I
been
think
the
it's
big
over.
difference. Once that comes through, he was solid, headshots galore, but if they chase him down and zone him out like that, it is nothing.
Well, we knew we were going to have an exciting set. That was for sure in Europe. We just thought it was going to be this one. And it certainly wasn't. This was a lot of drafting issues coming to the forefront for Clown Fiesta. And obviously, you're losing your roster. You're losing a lot of people to the PPL.
Yeah.
You can't really take, can't be upset about it. You're going to have some work to do. But clearly, it's in the draft. It's in the positions you're putting yourselves in. Maybe the style of play that you're believing in right now that's just not working against the duo front line and pressure from Authority.
But obviously, the players still have that emphasis behind them. I mean, you don't get to the point where you have that kind of streak on Strix on everyone except for the Eevee at
Great
the beginning
players,
of the game.
clearly.
It's just being able to not only make that a little bit tighter for you, but also being able to, like you said, get a better draft, get things rolling so that it doesn't give up as much in favor of you.
It's just a nice edge draft.
Risk versus
right? I
reward,
mean, you lose the frontline battle so hard, and you lose the Inari, you're like, should we even try to compete? The Khans ban, the Makoa's ban, the Torvald's ban, maybe let's just get a Barrack and go triple DPS. But if you don't get Strix Eevee first, I mean, maybe you just get the Inari yourself. Maybe you put them in that situation. Maybe you can Inara Barrack and then see what they have to throw at you. You know what I mean? I don't know. Snipe says draft. Let's take a look at the standings and the schedule here just to wrap things up in the PGS for EU. We've still got another region coming up, and that's going to be an exciting one as well. Space Station Gaming, I believe, are playing RAL. And Guimas, I believe, are playing Pro Air. Let's take a look at the schedule here. Space Station are playing RAL. And so Space Station have the chance again to go 3-0 if they win. RAL is currently 1-1, and so is Guimas. So Guimas have the chance to kind of go 2-1 here over Pro or Air if they win. And RAL, I mean, up against the best opponent in Brazil by far, Space Station Gaming. If you expect them to lose, Guimas will be in a great position to take a clear second place here in the PGS for Brazil. But we'll have to find out when that goes live. When is that going live? Like right after this break. So me and William are going to take a second, maybe get some water, snack for a second, and we'll be right back with the Brazilian side of the PGS after this.
We say we love, we say we love. We gave it all, we gave it all. We say we love, we say we love. But we were just innocent until something better came along.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Paladins Global Series. My name's Randy. That's Pretty Hair, and it's time to get into the action for Brazil. Today we have a doubleheader, and if you didn't join us for Europe, you missed out. It was an amazing day. And Nick, just to fill you in as well, because you're just joining us, it was the first place team, Blazing Hussars, actually losing to the last place team, Underrated.
No way.
So taking their first L of the season, and then it was Authority cleaning up the two teams in the middle, Authority and Clown Fiesta, who were 1-1. Authority will now be 2-1 after winning that set 2-0 pretty convincingly. Clown Fiesta still a couple of things to work out, especially with losing their 3 players to the PPL this season.
Underrated, living up to their name, I suppose.
Absolutely, and it was Nino Sassola second and Hayes who really performed throughout the day. But in Brazil, it's a totally different opportunity. It's Space Station Gaming able to continue their run through Brazil, not only in the PGS, but in the hearts and fans of those in Latin America and all around the world. FRZ God, Ares, all of these guys have really changed the landscape of, I think, competitive Brazilian Paladins, and they want to continue that today.
You know, there isn't too many teams that can kind of nip at their heels, but I think this used to be Sushi Rao Esports. That's a team that sort of rings a bell in my mind.
It's lunchtime. Don't mention sushi
and
right
that's
now,
a
Nick.
Squad
That's not appropriate.
Also, you know, I
It's
remember
not appropriate.
being sort of close to Space Station, and since Space Station have made a couple changes, Guimas used to be Black Dragons as well, I'm being told.
Is that a classic Brad logo there? Or is that an actual
mean
logo
Joe?
they present? Well, Brad, that's a Joe Bro joint? Okay. I love it. Well,
Both the Guima one or the...
the Guimas, I was saying.
I don't know what it is.
No, it's Space Station.
I forgot to ask Joe what, there was this other logo the other day that, was it you that was trying to figure it out what it was
Yes.
with me? It was
Yeah,
the pig-eared, like, Bane mask thing.
Yeah. Maybe his whole point is just nondescript. There is no answer. It's you see whatever you want to see. It's like a Rorschach ink blot test. And we'll take a look at the maps here for set number 1. It is not going to be as easily done versus said for the chance for the underdogs here, Rao Esports, to take down Space Station Gaming. But Ascension Peak is a good place to start. Give yourself a lot of time to fight in this first objective.
And just because it is the largest capture point in the game, that's why we tend to see it play out that way.
That's true. Different size. So weird to think that.
It is. It's, you know, and it's significantly larger. And not only that, it
got
has
the
the cover.
blockers, yeah.
Right. It's got 2 massive statues on the point. So it's very easy for 2 frontliners to just sit on there and be completely out of line of sight of each other. And there's just no way they can put any damage on each other. And I wonder if it'll be funny to kind of like watch now that I've just said that. It sort of like sparked something in my head. I wonder how much like of a percentage of a frontliner's damage is just smacking the other front line.
Yeah.
And so on Ascension Peak, do they tend to get lower damage because there is just going to be the other frontliner hiding behind a statue?
Right. Yeah, that is interesting to see. It will be kind of an interesting stat to track. We have some great stats being done by Nick Wagner in the back here in our production team, trying to put together some of those things so Paladins can get even better at keeping those stats up to date for you all. Kana Genos, damage amp for me. That's what SSG looked to be going for. And you know what? You know who's available that we haven't seen at all in Europe? Banned or picked. It's Koga. And Kana Genos is exactly who I'd like to see paired with the Koga.
I know, right? It'd be great. Willow comes through on this map as well. And I don't know, because like there's not a ton of line of sight from high to low.
They're
and
doing
gonna do it to him. Triple damage amp so far. Torvald is banned. Is there anyone else that we're missing?
I mean, do you need anyone? I mean, you got the Zen. That's enough for him. That's plenty.
So a Yomi Swipe that comes through on a target that's marked, luminaried, and firing lined out of his mind.
Ouch.
That's a lot of math that I'm not going to do. I'm just going to wait and see.
Exactly. Well, we know Luminary is 970. It's around 977 for him, which is that's an insane amount of damage as well. So add another basically 45% to that, or the original base of 850. They're getting close to about 1400 there on the Yomi swing. Probably 1200 at base. Drogo's grabbed as well. Another champion. I mean, this is a lineup that, even though it's single front line, has so much damage in it that, especially going against another single front line.
Well, that's how they're kind of looking to win the game, right? You know, instead of picking the Barrack, they've just gone for the Khan instead. And teams will do that from time to time. It'll probably be Ares, I would imagine. He normally plays
He's a Khan
for
main.
SSG. But they don't normally run a lot of solo front from what I've seen. But they have, you know, they've kind of flip-flopped around a little bit. Mid-Tao moved on to the support, what appears to be full-time. Rashal was the main tank for this squad. So he may be the one flexing today.
Okay.
No, he's going to stay.
Ares on the
Khan.
Tyra. It's really a Spexy who's jumped in for Dyron, and that was the surprise for us. And
FRZ sitting out this week.
And FRZ as well.
For Mons, yeah. So like we said, Midtown normally plays support. Monzi, I believe, is their coach, so he looks like he's just subbing in. Put him on literally the easiest character in the game. and he can do his thing.
Let the battle
Are you just
begin.
insulting Genos mains off the bat?
No, I'm not.
Genos has
Look,
some
I think
skill.
there's a lot of value
Nick, even you
for a
needed-
leader to play something that they can do mindlessly and worry
Wow.
about other things.
I'll remind you, Nick, the
I play a
conversations...
Demon Hunter in World of Warcraft
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I need to be able to call stuff out and not think about my rotation.
and not think about anything. Well, so far, not a lot of thinking here. I'd love to take a look at this Drogoz, though, or this Zen. The ones who are going to be benefiting from this damage amp. You know, that's what this lineup's all about. And so Aspexy as well, getting some more looks onto him. He's been the sub that's kind of taken control over, I guess, the spot that Dyron would hold. And now FRZ God is not in, so he's playing that role specifically, the blaster role for SSG.
Stop the payload.
As they get 100-0, a minute and 37, maybe the fastest Ascension peak.
Yeah, right as we talk about it, they come through and get it done in a minute 30. Great strikes here from Mittal from the low ground. Puts a little bit of pressure on the Willow. Misses that one, but Drogoz might be able to clean this one up. Just getting so much healing in the early game. Straight up being pocketed by Life Exchange Ying, I mean, it's really hard to get through that amount of HPS, both clones and the right click coming through.
I mean, he almost did it. He just missed that last swing, which is it shows you that you
Hit your shots,
Yeah, you gotta hit your shots, guys. Gotta hit your shots. RC Soldier
Is that
as well.
from something?
I don't know.
Or have I just heard Ninja say that a lot.
Hit your shots, guys.
Hit your shots, guys.
Hit your shots.
I love that.
What is that, a Valley Girl
Oh.
voice? What is that voice?
I don't know. It's just like the smack talking like Halo Gears of War console guy from back in the day. Like, it's your fiber connection, dude. You're nothing without your love. Nice host, bro. Nice host. Back when all that stuff mattered.
You call that a ninja, bro? I'll show you a ninja right now, bro. Hit your shots.
Are there any games besides like For Honor that do the one player is the host?
I don't know.
I know they got like flamed for that, and I was just wondering like, if there's anyone else? I don't think there is anyone else that does that.
I mean, we did have production mention that maybe Call of Duty did that, but for those interested in
The new one? Oh man, that'd be crazy.
in the push going on, Gervin really one of the only people to find kills in this. I mean, Rachao has stayed alive nearly the entire time. Everyone on streaks except for Ares, who does get isolated there. But I mean, so much being done from Mittal that it's really hard to even worry about what everyone else is doing because the Zen is just so oppressive when he's got this Luminary attached to him.
And finding some pretty awesome shots here, kind of really along the way. It's just good for some ult charge, some poke. And rain of bullets.
Yeah. Storm of bullets.
Going for Chow.
30 seconds
It's
remaining.
Divine Blessing and Rain of Bullets. What are your name mix-ups, Nick?
Listen, it's the rainstorm coming
It's
through right now.
You're just so absorbed with the rainstorm. Is that what it is? You
The
just
Divine
really
Storm,
joined.
dude.
You just really.
15
You know what it
seconds
is?
remaining.
Divine Storm's a paladin ability. Wow. I've been seeing that too much. Flooding my head.
7,
Man, oh man, oh man. Well, right now SSG. Ooh, Rachel getting close to low. Gervin trying to find it all. Battle Shout
enemy.
doesn't really do much because I think the cauterize from the dead zone is just enough that no healing, but just that Luminary mark starts to tick through. I mean, this could have been a hold. It was inches. But those inches go the way of Space Station Gaming, and isn't that how we always see it with the Fanatics, the Navis, the top teams? They just somehow find a way to get it done.
Yep. Get that reset. Get their feet under them. Make that coordinated effort, and they have, I mean, perfect ultimates for it. They use the overpower there, and it's a really easy decision to make on this map in particular.
Yeah.
Because normally overpower, you want to save that for your point fight where you can frag out a frontliner, but on Ascension Peak, it's kind of like
In 15
even a little bit harder than Bright Marsh to get that angle to actually. Maybe you could go for the well dunk. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's a good dunk at the point.
That's
Absolutely.
something that you could try and do. But
Absolutely.
we don't see a ton of that.
4,
I want to see somebody get, like, well dunked
Yeah.
with a commander's grab. Like
Basically, what I was saying is, yeah, you have to be able to dunk the enemy frontliner off the map, just get them out of there. And yeah, as you can see, Midtal's probably going to take that route, maybe.
I mean, you could literally do anything, Nick.
That's
I
the
mean,
only lethal area over there.
Yeah, to an Inara, you could do absolutely. Because, like, even this peak, you just turn to the left, you could throw her off. There's no way for her to stay on. Ares with a questionable, I think, ultimate there. And actually will fall down to RC Soldier. This guy is no joke. He's one of the most veteran, most dominant players in the Brazilian PGS scene in its history. And
Wow.
a lot of these guys, Gervin as well, I mean, these are some really well-known players. So,
Shut down.
yeah.
And, you know, they have ultimates too, right? Rao, every team fight is a little bit different in that second round because of the ultimates here. Mittal
Below?
just trying his
Below?
best to get there, and he doesn't have what it takes. And I don't remember seeing him use Billow. But but
I
it
don't
definitely
remember
wasn't
seeing
up there.
Yeah, and you know what? For those who are like curious, this no, that's Quemos. But man, oh man, I feel like Gervin and RC Soldiers used to be on Black Dragons. And we know, I was told that Guimos is actually used to be Black Dragons as an organization, but
Maybe way back in the
I
day,
remember
yeah.
way back in the
I can't
day,
remember.
RC Soldier, maybe even Cassidy's got, it's got to be 2 years. And RC Soldier and Black Dragons used to be the representatives for Brazil before Space Station Gaming kind of came up, just a little bit of history, and they would be at our earlier events, our LAN center that has been completely remodeled and redone over in the studio. And now it has really just the last year been all about SSG and FRZ God and this squad they put together.
And there's that angle actually played right there by Khan, so finds it on Inara. 133. Aries in some trouble now. You can see everyone coming in hot to bail him out. And not even Buck can survive that pressure with the mark coming through. Everyone else receiving bonus damage as well. It's not super apparent. It's not super easy to tell, and that's probably why this will never be a super popular talent outside of competitive play, but very, very effective for Tyras that we've been seeing.
Yeah, that was always what held it back in casuals. Just you never know what's happening as a result of it because you're not communicating with your team, but it is making the difference, that's for sure. Questionable about where and who he's trying to target because, again, a lot of times you look at flanks, a lot of times people might aggress on you, but man, RC Soldier clearly is a threat. Aries knows it. Unfortunately, he's one of the only ones who's paying attention and goes down for it.
Shao gets the shield up just in time to avoid being disengaged off the map, but SSG have already burned a lot of time off the clock. Buck is actually going to eat that time and space, but he gets his recovery off just soon enough to get himself 2,600 HP to actually survive that ultimate.
By the way, Exaction Cassie, for some reason, has kind of come back
Yeah?
out of nowhere. Yeah.
Well, they were always already very close
They were.
in terms of exaction damage and impulse. Impulse has the leg up on exaction just for things like the anti-heal, and I think it's a little bit easier to confirm. You know, it is the blast shot. You can get at least some damage out around a corner. If you miss slightly, you could hit multiple targets, God forbid, if anyone's stacked up. Exaction definitely had its time in the sun, though.
There is not a lot of builds that also change a character's dynamic based on their economy of the items you need. But Exaction is one, because you need Chronos. You need a little bit of Chronos now.
Yeah.
And that's expensive. I mean, that shuts down something else that most Cassies are grabbing up.
Yep.
And, you know, that could be a little bit of a difference. And it's more of a late game payoff. We don't have a lot of that in Paladins, but it is kind of cool that still exists.
You don't have a ton of those late game builds that really start to come into their own in the late game, but Exaction Cassie
Is one, I would say.
definitely nowadays is one you need it. And even when you do, I mean, not many people can get to Chronos 3 except for like some supports.
Right.
But when you do, it's pretty close to like what it was back in the day.
A couple of other cards in there as well. I mean, when you hit your disengage, you can get your dash roll back. It's an interesting, like I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, but a big game kind of loadout where you can use your somersault, you can get your disengage. I think the card's called Territorial, where if you hit your disengage, you reduce the cooldown.
I think that one's called Excitement.
Excitement. And so you actually combine that with Incitement. You have your somersault. You know, Excitement at max rank or right below max rank actually gets your dash back almost instantly. So it's another thing. I think people are going to start experimenting more. Cassie's always had a relative variety of builds and play styles, and you know she is kind of a starter character, which is great to see.
I do miss that roll build sometimes. Just sometimes.
The immunity frames on the
Probably
roll.
forget. No, not that one. Not that iteration. God, no. That was my first and worst nightmare, basically, is how I'll put that.
Things clearly not going well for Mid-Tal and Space Station Gaming, so they're going to back off.
That's actually why I learned Cassie.
Oh, really?
I was like,
This is busted,
I don't know
huh?
how to beat this.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just going to play it.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good reason. I mean, that was definitely like the champion that was abusing.
Because I thought, I
Paladins
was
in the
like,
beginning.
I'm maining Grover, the guy that has a very low cooldown, reliable cripple. I should be the one that beats this.
Yes.
And I just got tossed around the map like a ragdoll.
Damn, dude. I mean, that was a different time. It was a different time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things out there. I mean, things that like you look back and you're just,
Kretz Barrack Rocket Boot Flame Trail Pentakill.
Oh
look
man.
back, and you love
Does
to see it.
Accelerator Field still exist? Is that even still a card? Did they change that?
Yeah.
To make
Yeah.
it better, or is it still the movement speed? Through the
It's still movement speed.
Wow. I feel like the combinations with that are more of unlucky there for RC Soldier on the Cassie. But you know, for the movement speed for like ults, like before king bombs or like things like that, to really, I don't know, there's some fun things you could do.
Dude, we honestly saw a ton of that at
We
the
used to.
console LAN. Like, they would run that Grok Bomb King combo a lot. And it was honestly very effective just because you have that, you know, ingrained in your head where you know and where you hear that King Bomb, where you know it can be and how fast it's going to get to you, and then you just throw it all out the window because it's coming at you 3-4 times as fast as it should be.
I mean, it's almost like that Ceres Victor, right? We've like not seen really like ultimate combos. Like we'll see the Genos Talus, like that came out a little bit ago, like I think it was actually last season.
And then no one ever played it again.
No one ever did it
after
again.
the World Championship.
I
I was like, oh my god, I never thought about this.
like-
That's so how do you beat that?
He kills him every time. Like, what? I don't know, man. It's just crazy how we see these things come in and come out. That's what kind of makes Paladins fun, but it's not that they don't work. It's just what players are focusing on. What's the min-max? Sometimes you just will... There's no reason why you're not seeing something. It's just we're looking elsewhere.
Flavor Saver. Flavor of the month. Tyra might be flavor of the month right now.
Sometimes you have to look at that in relationships, too. It's kind of funny, but a lot of people will kind of get themselves in a tiff being like, oh, man, person I'm interested in is not, like, interested in me, you know? But a lot of times they're just... It's not that they're not interested in you. They're just looking somewhere else. They're just interested in another thing. It's not that you're bad, and I think that's very relatable to how these champions kind of get selected. And, oh, it's the Tyra now, and everyone's looking at Tyra. You know, Tyra's been...
You know, Cassie needs love, too.
Yeah,
Damn
I mean,
it.
exactly. Everyone needs love. 52 seconds left. Space Station Gaming trying to push to end the game, but Rally Esports, I mean, holding solid. That's a big kill from Ares, though, and Rachel aggressive. That's the way I'll describe that one. He does go down as a result, but Ares, he has a chance. He could do something crazy here.
Oh! Man, these grenade launchers, Buck.
Oh, he missed.
Get off his heel. Gervin picks up a double kill. He's been playing this rock. Pocket heal all the while. Route Esports pushing successfully. Mitau just barely stepped out of range there, and he lets it through.
Well, that's interesting. A little bit aggressive.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. Still seeing this Buck, but really only in other regions. We're not seeing it very often in Europe or North America. Obviously, the rapid sustain nerf and the deep breath nerf really hurt what was his viable style. But reconstruction, you know, 5.
Yep. He's the vanilla ice cream of Paladins. 10-second cooldowns across the board. They're very simple. One layer deep. Shoots a shotgun.
Wins
Doesn't
bounce
have any
outs.
hair.
When's
What's
bounce
that?
house back? When is bounce house back?
Oh, I don't know,
It's
man.
only a matter of time.
Charles still plays that in playtests.
Does he
Every
really?
time. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him play bulk up.
It
Charles
might-
is not a slave
It
to
might
your
be OP.
meta.
Exactly. Dude, what if it's OP? I wonder. That'd be so fun. I gotta play bounce house Buck now. I just have to.
Oh, man, they're going to try to
Oh!
counterplay this coming out from Rashao. He'll still get an aura.
They got him, man.
Not exactly surprising there, but Gervin now tightening the noose. Mitau as well. And
Ouch.
this is just Rao Esports not being afraid of Space Station Gaming and really, I think, appropriately counterplaying what their strategy was.
Why would you? I mean, they don't have FRZ God. That's not something that Brazil takes lightly. He's touted as one of the best blaster players, one of the best players in the world internationally in terms of skill. I mean, they're playing with their coach. That's not a surprise
Oh, my goodness.
to Rao. They know exactly what's going on. They see an injured Lamb and they're wolves ready to hunt.
And that disengage there, we've seen a couple of impactful disengages in that game, but that one keeps the overtime and any chance of SSG coming back at bay. Rao Esports take the first game. It's only best of 3. You only have one game to give.
Yeah, and so that was the game that they hopefully gave. If you're an SSG fan, we're going to see another upset, and maybe not because of the same reason, maybe because they're missing a few of their crucial players,
Right.
which allow them to do what they do. Is SSG really a one-man show?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Slightly, I don't know. I wouldn't call that a conventional lineup for SSG either. I think that's
No, it was a risk for
a
sure.
bit of a fringe lineup there that could absolutely work. It just has that razor-thin, I think, margin for an error. Jaguar Falls. We'll see if they run it back or if they go back to their more traditional double front line style.
I think it worked. It just RC Soldier started
Not
getting
often
it.
enough.
Gervin started going in. I mean, you don't really count on the Buck. I'm not sure if it's been a mainstay in Brazil even after it, but you didn't really count on the Buck doing what he
was
did.
phenomenal.
I mean, Gervin's a great player.
Yeah. He definitely found a way to get it done. And that was a build that was attacked twice, basically. First, it was just the recovery takes longer to get off. You got that much longer post-hit delay, and then the cards themselves were attacked. So the fact that Gervin can still pull that out and still be impactful is very impressive.
I mean, the base skill was still good, right? I mean, increasing your health by 300 and then healing up that extra 600, I think. It's pretty impactful. Nara and Cassie taken for Rao. I mean, why not? Keep going with it. Keep rolling with what's working.
We've seen this a lot, actually, on Jaguar Falls. Well, people, especially second pick, not a lot of first pick Willows, but in the second phase, second and third pick, you'll see Willow plus XYZ. Doesn't really matter. To try and deter the Inara going back to third and fourth pick, or excuse me, fourth and fifth pick, so that they can get Inara then again. But Rao are just going to go ahead and pick right into it. And that's always one of those things that's on paper it works. Should shut it down all the time, the Inara healing. But she's not always there. Sometimes she dies.
She really
Sometimes she's under pressure. You never know.
And will this be a solo Inara? Will they go for a buck again? It's not like it wouldn't be decent. They're going to go for the Tyra. So it is a solo frontline. This time the Torvald and the Barrack working together. The Genos on the Androxus. It really is, I think, a matter of how strongly this Androxus and Willow will show up with the Luminary marks on top of them.
I mean, it's kind of the same idea. I mean, it's almost the same sort of lineup coming out this time from SSG. They do have double frontliner, but it is Torvald Barrack. So if anything, it will be played out, executed similarly to how it was in the previous game. They're not going to be headed straight to the objective. They're going to try and take fights and sort of use their superior firepower as well as the Torvald bubbles to lean heavily on as a win condition.
Okay, so we do have our hunting party. We have our heads will roll. We have our Luminary, Talus, Inner Strength for RC Soldier, who had a great game on the Cassie, but he gives that one up to Kronz now, who will be running the Impulse Cassie style, starting out with Wrecker, and that's one of the benefits of this style. You can just go Wrecker. You have your Kinetics anti-heal. No Chronos needed. Off to the gates, ready to roll.
This is going to be a good one to watch, right? You get to see the win condition is the Andro Torvald here, I think, for the most part. Willow's going to try and keep a lid on everything. But if these guys are just blowing through these protection bubbles like it's nothing, it'll be really interesting to see. Or maybe they just forget about Andro altogether and cut it off at the source.
I mean, Midtown finds the only front line on their side, though, so that is a problem. Like,
wow.
Midtown with its double kill and staying alive, this is a big deal. He goes for it.
My man wants it.
He really did.
Oh, my God.
He could have tried to maybe force Kronz away, but I think it was smart. It was smart to just try and get the fight in. Otherwise, where are you? You have to save another 5 seconds before you get back to your team.
Cojones.
Oh, 18?
In Portuguese, 18 HP, not even close. He's afraid to even get in line of sight of his healer at this point. He's got some serious PTSD.
Yeah.
Free casting now in the fight. Trapped in a corner.
Mitao
I don't
again.
think Mitao knows, though. He doesn't go for the kill. In fact, he runs over to his Torvald and his Barrack to try and keep them alive. This is getting hairy in that little corner. They lose 2.
Yeah.
Ares is going down as well. Kron's alive all the while. Spexy manages to bring him down. But I think this is Rao Esports' objective.
I mean, Ares and Rachao have to get it together here. And, you know, I'm not usually critical of those two guys. They're mainstays. They're old school. Ares a little bit new school that I've been really excited about. But his Barrack play is not creating any space. He's starting at the back. He needs to go on to that point. Get one of those healing totems. Control the dark room. Barrack does well with that with turrets in there. Don't be afraid of the Inara. It's a solo Inara.
I haven't seen a protection bubble go out this game.
And that's what I'm saying. He's dying too fast.
Either.
Yeah.
So Midtown either has to slow it down, allow this Torvald to kind of help him out, stay in line of sight, and you know, that side of the map that they were playing, the dark side, I guess, instead of cliff side, it's kind of, you know, there is smaller line of sights there. There is kind of more in and out in that room. Controlling that hallway is more often than not the more highly contested side, I think, especially for the squad that doesn't have the Inara.
I agree. I still think Ares just needs to take a risk, stay on the mount more, and at the start of the round, if you just watch that round back, I don't know why anyone would do that right now, but if you did want to, he stops right where he's shooting, right there, right where Kronz is. That's where he stops and tries to use that as the cover, and I think he just needs to go farther, take a risk. That gives Midtown space to play out of in front of him, but also retreat to him if things go wrong, so he's not so isolated.
Here comes the true power, and it was on to a Spexy. And just the coordinated strikes here from Rao Esports. They get the seismic crash to follow it up. RC Soldiers out nice and clean after picking up 2. I mean, Rao Esports looking like they might make this a quick 2 games.
Did he change his talent? because
what?
his blitz upper was still on cooldown. How is it inner strength? And he didn't get instant cooldowns back. I don't understand. Now he got it again. Might have just immediately blitz upper.
No, I think you're right.
That was really weird.
I remember seeing that as well, actually, now that you're kind of mentioning it. Keep an eye on it.
Yeah, keep an eye on it.
That's what we'll do. Cursed Arm comes through, finds one, but it's again Rao Esports with mid-tow. And again, this is, you know, it's not his fault. His frontliners kind of die while he's up in the air trying to salvage the fight, but it's ultimates used in SSG. A little frustrated today. 0-2, Rao Esports looking to make quick work of the Kings of Brazil.
And I believe RC, he started with Wrecker. I mean, he's got Antediluvian,
Right.
you would expect. Just tearing through those shields. Midtown, the only light in the darkness right now for Space Station Gaming. They've got to change something up. I really am curious to watch Ares or Midtown, one of those two, perspectives, because I think that Ares needs to create more space, and I think he's going to be better off going towards the center of the point. I think Midtown needs to be a little bit closer. I think he needs to roll with Rachao. Wherever Rachao goes, I think Midtown needs to follow, and even if it takes a little bit of time, you get Inara on the point, then you know where she is. You're fine. You need to deal with RC Soldier on this Talus, and you need to get Kronz off this Cassido. And this is much better from Ares, in my opinion. Much better. Right here. Yeah.
The objective. It's the spot. Orders fielded out, but it's not the cripple field, so he'll be okay for now. Midtown first dead in the fight. You hate to see it.
There it is.
But what you love to see, Evan,
There it is.
is the double kill from the Hyper Beam on Jaguar Falls. Maybe that's why they're playing this side so heavily. Maybe that's why they want control of it. It was, I think RC Soldier just Rune have traveled back onto the map because I'm pretty sure I saw 3 people go off.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible there. There it is. RC
yeah.
Soldier's down. I think that maybe both front lines shouldn't have chased Talus that long, though. Again, little min-maxy things, but Sukran has this entire time just been on the objective and is nowhere near dying.
Why wasn't he on? He was like
Not
right in that
hyper.
corner. Right in that corner he was standing and not quite on the objective. I think Rao Esports at that point, even if they're planning on losing the fight, they could have been at maybe 80, 85% by the time that Space Station Gaming actually put themselves back on the objective. Ares in trouble here, low.
Yeah.
Let's look at the healing charts. You know, how much is this Genos being able to keep up? He's just being severely doubled down on by this Ying, and it looks that way.
It just really also looks like they're not on the same page. You know what I mean? It just feels like they're very separated. Like, Vital's playing his own game. Ares is kind of like trying to control this point, but he's got a lot of pressure. Vital, he's totally fine, though. He says, guys, just buy me time. I'll aim for the head. We'll do the things. Space Station Gaming not quite out of this one yet. Kronz, maybe the next victim. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, certainly.
And that was actually a really big headshot because, you know, it's that delicate balance of, I'm sure RC Soldier was trying to take one more bullet before he traveled out of there, but he took a headshot instead.
Absolutely.
Took a ton of damage. 1150 something I saw, and then he just got deleted off the map. Comeback Mechanic going to help SSG get back into this one a little bit. So they'll try their hand at the offense now.
Ares getting the Luminary mark. I mean, this is a big deal for the Barrack. But, you know, where he is falling is some of his sustainability. Maybe let's take a look at the loadout. Is he making any adjustments to what we've seen kind of work for Barrack with that bowling ball, the failsafe, the red streak? He is not running red streak. That's okay. Going for a little bit of forged alloy to really supplement that, and really not a lot of bowling ball. So maybe this is where we're seeing a little bit of the adjustment come through, and not sure how it's working quite
invested
yet.
pretty hard into the CCR as well.
For
Not a
for
ton of
what?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that
That's-
seismic crash. But normally what we see, the reason I think we don't see a lot of barracks pick that up is because most barracks will just drop their dome shield down once they see the windup coming for seismic crashes, once they hear the cues from Evil Mojos, things like that. Personal choice, though.
I mean, he's fighting Rachao a lot. I mean, RC Soldier, and I don't mind him. He's winning the duel. But you need a front line on the point. I mean, who's going to be the point front line? Is it going to be Rachao or is it going to be Ares? At this point, they're just playing as 5 solo players.
It's kind of this comp, though. I mean, they just need to get a kill. That's pretty much how it always sort of works with these Barrack, these Torvalds. Neither of those guys can go toe to toe. And you saw he's so close to getting that kill. You miss one shot, Cauterize falls off for a second against Ying, and then just that HP bar just blasts back to full. And that was kind of the turning moment for me. I think if he gets that kill on RC Soldier, he can sort of start to take root in the backline, drop some turrets, get his cooldowns up.
I know they have Wrecker, Nick, but I'd love to see them play more as 5. I think Space Station Gaming are just doing a little bit more of an island than they need to. They've got a lot of shields to play around, and Aspexy is a great... I mean, just let Aspexy get a little bit of breathing room. They just fire on these only hit scan kind of threats, really. like right here, just Barrack Shield, let Aspexy, I mean, Torvald and Aspexy damage, but not coverage. Aspexy trying to stay alive, but it's a rough one.
Sort of the same conversation. I'd like to see Rochelle maybe on the right-hand side here, switch with Barrack.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you're going to be lethal with your Hyper Beam from that side, not really this side. That's what got him going earlier. Hopefully they can lean on that again. Dorm Shield committed down onto the objective. SSG wants this conversion.
See, okay, so you're 1v1ing your Cassie. Why are you doing that? That's, to me, where things are falling apart. That needs to be a Spexy running in with a bubble from you behind. And I'm seeing these frontliners 1v1 and lead the charge that way, where that's not really the tooltip for how they need to be played in this matchup. It's showing. Rally Sports are taking advantage of maybe an idea that's beautiful from Space Station Gaming, but just not being executed perfectly.
And that's Rochelle kind of showing, right? That's his thing is Inara. His thing is the point frontliner. He's kind of the brawler. He's not really the bubble bot in the background. And maybe just tough for him to adjust to that style and you know, positioning and call-outs, I don't know, may not be his thing. But like I said, haven't seen a ton of bubbles go out this game. I want to see actually the damage shielded charts. I don't call for that very often. But I think it'll be a good thing to look at here for Torvald specifically. There should be a decent, it should be a decent number, right?
Wow.
But Torvald in most cases will crush everyone on this chart because it's always up. He's always bubbling someone, and those count towards his damage shielded. The fact that Barrack's ahead of him,
it's a little odd.
It is a little odd.
I mean, and Rochelle, you can tell he's just been dying early. I gotta say, this doesn't look very good for Space Station Gaming. I think this might be it for them today. Looks like they will take their first L. I honestly, there's still ultimates alive and on the board, but Rao Esports they have been impressive.
My goodness.
Nothing bad to say about them.
Absolutely. And we talked about it a little bit going in. This is a team that has been closing the gap, I think, on the top of the Brazilian scene for a while. And then when you get changes made from SSG on top of the fact FRZ is not here. It looks like the wall went up and maybe caught a couple people against the backboard. And Nara did not make it off, but a Spexy with a beautiful Nightshade there. He finds basically 2.5. Make it 3. Midtown, Monzi. Everyone fills up the kill feed. SSG, new life and a new hope.
Well, this just got a lot more interesting. We thought it might have been set over. Backs against the walls. They make the play. The Hyper Beam comes up. You can't fault Rochelle for that. He saves it for the perfect moment. Mitao on the zone. Spexy on the zone. Dismounts. And it's the Inara. She can't get back with the comeback mechanic. There you go. There you go. And now they're going to lose the Inara again, it looks like. And the Talus. That was more than they bargained for. All of the members of Rao commit, and they go down in flames. All of them.
Commit after losing the objective, too.
Weird.
It's a little bit strange. I guess, you know, you try to squash the momentum early rather than later, but now you take that risk. Everyone's back up now, and SSG get to sort of just kind of cross out in the open for free. That's one of the tougher spots to do on Jaguar Falls, is to get it up to this gate at times, but they get it done for free.
I think they need to figure out how to contribute to this Inara going down. How to just make this easy, and maybe it's a Spexy. Maybe that's just it. A little bit more focus from him. Despite being on a 9 streak, he's relatively quiet over the course of this game for me.
Absolutely, up until the last about minute and a half, 2 minutes.
So I got to figure out, where is he? Why is he having such trouble? I mean, I know there's a lot of hit scan. I know Talus and RC and Gervin are keeping him pinned down, but
it's tough for sure. That's illusory rift spent. Doesn't really get much stabilized. I will say he's drafted definitely to keep this Inara in check. Just keep this dead zone applied.
Right.
I think that's his main job at the end of the day. And from the last, I mean, we've seen 4 or 5 dead zones in a row.
Right.
In the last, minute or so that we've been on Inara's camera. We saw 2 dead zones the fight before, so it's hard to say that he's not doing that job. At that point, it's up to Mitao and Rochelle to kind of get the rest of that done. Those two need to stick together for sure.
Spexy just checking to see that Talus wasn't behind them, which just lets you know how much RC Soldier is in their mind right now. Oh, and he gets the Hunter's Mark off. That was big. Again, he's going to,
there's the bubble.
Okay.
That's all you need.
Yeah. That's it. And now Sukrot should be dead to rights. Finish the Sonara off. I think you're okay.
Well done. Well done. Well executed by SSG. Keep these bubbles flowing. I mean, it's close to 100% uptime nowadays.
Got to get yanked.
Far away. Firebomb
15 seconds
steps
remaining.
into it as well. Takes a little bit of damage here, but Midtow keeping the pressure applied. Gervin so low here, and he finds it.
And this is perfect because he can go here. He's got the bubble as well. He wants it one. Oh, punch
Go
him.
ahead.
There it is. And he gets out as well. I mean, this is definitely a push. Space Station Gaming. And that's what I like committing. I like the Accursed Arm to start that off. You
Back
don't
to 70%. Too.
Yeah, and you don't lose much even if you miss it. It's like, let's take a gamble on this. You know.
It's that time and space to me. You know, you're not out of it if you miss that, right?
Yeah.
That's a cherry on top ultimate in my eyes. Cursed Arm does not always get kills, and you don't necessarily expect it to either. Very telegraphed. You know, when you want to get that good angle, everyone hears you dash up. Everyone hears the bell toll. I mean, it's been the same since day one. Everyone has been trained for years to dodge that. I remember the patch we changed it from doing just 1,000 flat to actually having like
Fall off?
explosion fall off.
I mean, the 1,000 flat was just busted when you really think about it.
Yeah.
How good it was. Because he always had such a good ult. And Droxus is good even without his ult, which is what makes that
And an ability.
busted. Yeah, exactly. He's been that good with so little.
Feeling it. He just ate that. He,
He
just said,
just-
I am going to sit in this firebomb.
Yeah.
That's my life.
He just decided.
Damn.
He just committed. The commitment of
What
the
a weird hill
Champions
to die
Club.
on.
Yeah.
One
Well,
that's
you know
on
what?
Fire.
What do they get off of it? They got a Cassie ult. They got a seismic crash
You got Scout.
just now. They
Good
got
for
a
you.
but they got a seismic crash just now. So 3-3. They're gonna get another chance at it. That's CC immunity. That's the stall. Hyper Beam could still work here. Are you gonna? Mother's Grace.
Oh, and now he's caught. Maybe that's what they got caught on last round. He Mother's Grace, gets close enough, then gets caught on the crown molding of the room.
Wow.
And that's just enough. And Nara, with her neck strength, she just flexes the traps and just holds herself there.
And a Spexy. Uh-oh. He can turn this around. He can. He did. Oh, 112 health. He's got to back off. Just back off. No one's on the point. Don't worry. Chill. 3-3. That might have been the play of the game. Stays on a 17 streak. Actually puts it from 16 to 17. And now it's back up on the catwalk. But no zoning at all.
No, both teams right back into it. 57% for Rao, 39% for
Get her.
Space Station. Gaming Midtow finds his way to the back line, up in the air, hits the Accursed Arm as well. He's raining down the damage onto Inara, but she shrugs it off for the most part. Spexy's going to keep the gas pedal hit here, hits the dead zone. The healing is no more. Savage streak for Spexy as he heads towards 20.
I think we're going to another game. But it's all up to Rao Esports to make the plays that we saw Spexy make earlier that just changed the complete tide of what would have happened. If RC Soldier gets that kill, this Willow doesn't do everything that you've just watched nonstop for the last minute and a half. And now another chance at redemption. They still can't finish off a Spexy up into the air. The Fae Flight takes place. And again, a dead zone onto the Inara, but she's not dead. She's back in the fight, but it's Midtow who takes down Gervin.
Oh, that's a big kill. Keeps Ares alive as well. Midtow will lose his life for it. 87%. Another illusory rift comes out. Kronz is getting so much healing. Ares is in trouble here, but as Spexy takes down Ying, slams down the dome shield. It doesn't matter. Kronz goes right under it. Drops the barrack in midair. RC Soldier gets the kill. Now fighting. It's not over yet. Talus comes through, trying to zone out Midtow. Evan, they may have just done it. They slam in no overtime. The best point fight of the PGS of the fall split so far. Incredible finish.
So they made the plays. I mean, the uptime and the downtime. I think maybe of the front lines. And you look at the way Ares died in those points. Point one, I mean, the round started the round so quickly in the firebomb. And then in that moment against, obviously, the pressure from Kronz and RC Soldier dies immediately as well. And Spexy's left in the 1v2. If it's a 2v1, totally different. But I think Spexy does well to even get it to that position, though, against RC Soldier. So Space Station Gaming take their first loss of the PGS.
I mean, pick a name there. They had a critical part to play, and I think that was changing hands so much. I mean, I think you see that point control go back and forth. You see that that was a really cool moment where it was like 50 to 30%, but there was no frontliners there, and everyone just kind of had to go for that reset.
What do I do?
Let the dust settle.
Super smart. I mean, great play all around. SSG obviously missing FRZ God, and it mattered as they go down. First set of the PGS that they take an L, but we're moving on to the second set here in Brazil. This one will be interesting, especially considering that both first seeds have toppled in now Europe and Brazil. We're going to see Guimas able to have a chance at maybe moving into that 2-1 position, tying it up with what we would assume is Space Station Gaming. And also, was it Rao? Yeah, it was Rao moving into the 1-1. Or the 2-1 now.
Pro Air banning out Fish Market. Queen's Academy get rid of Ascension Peak, and we'll head to Stone Keep to kick this one off. Queen's Academy, and apparently now we know that they're a team with a lot of history in this region as well. And that's sort of the holy trinity of Brazil, right? You have Black Dragon, Sushi Rao, and Space Station Gaming that were all really kind of fighting for the top. So Pro Air, I don't know if they've gone through a name change. Once we load in a game, we'll kind of take a look at the roster and maybe let you know. But there has been a decent amount of shuffling, I think, overall in Brazil.
Yeah, it really has.
Past couple months.
It's a region where, you know, team shuffling, and they kind of did it for Worlds last year. They brought Ares on. Ares and Dyron had been playing with each other for a while. Key to Victory was the team they were playing on, and they combined that up to just make a super team that ended up actually being really successful and has kind of got them here with the Space Station organization, now with this kind of, I think, mystique around the Brazilian region, but it wasn't enough to get wins. You still got to play every day, and Cassie and Furia here showing very, I think, a lot of value over the course of these drafts and picks for them.
And you know, I mean, 3 out of 4 of these picks so far, not even looked at in the prior set, right? No Furia, which was kind of, I think, if you want to look at.
I think she was banned.
Was she?
I think she was. In that bottom corner, that bottom corner. We'll get some confirmation on that. Otherwise, you're right. Yeah,
she was banned out. No Fernando, no Maldamba coming through, and then first picked in this set.
Yeah.
Normally we see that sort of thing region to region, but not necessarily set to set.
I agree. Buck and Inara taken here. There's another Buck. So Buck has not left at all. The Barrack, something that we've seen in Brazil. It's worked. And that is the Willow. Then act like I don't know nobody.
I don't know if I've ever heard that one.
That is a good one. I don't think I've heard it.
One. I like it. And in terms of whose draft I like, I definitely have to give it over to Guima's Academy right out of the gate. I don't really feel like I see... maybe I just would have liked the Genos here, I think, a little bit more for Pro Air. I don't think you pick up Maldamba unless you have like a Terminus or an Ara,
to work with.
Just juice onto the objective.
I
Neither
agree.
of those front. I mean, you can play Fernando that way. We don't really see it a lot. But just dumping healing into a frontliner is typically what you pick up Maldamba for. Great ultimate for the team fight.
Right.
So maybe they look to lean on that.
Mending Spirits is so valuable, too. I mean, when you have a really good Maldamba, I had the privilege of really playing with a fantastic Maldamba the other day. It was just a casual game. Man, when that's hitting on you nonstop, you feel like a completely different person and a completely different front line. And Fernando already really aggressive. He's got a dash, he's got the fireball. Maybe that's just something that they like. They've worked out, they've tried. They said this is even more aggressiveness to an already aggressive situation. Let's get into it.
Swift Spirits is like kind of the big talking point as well. It's a loadout card rather than a talent, but I feel like that's almost one of the
almost
things
worthy of a
you wanna
talent.
talk about, right, against Luminary, where you just get that Fernando, you get that Zen moving in there so much quicker. And especially in the case of Fernando, where he needs to be able to stick to his targets.
Right.
It's incredibly important. And the battle for the balcony. Kind of going back and forth here. Kick B manages to land a nice shot onto Dintic there, and they manage to find Nada as well.
Yeah, Kai could be having a fantastic situation here. The Willow working well, but again, working well with the Fernando. MRO1 definitely holding steady. The bigger thing is, are we going to see Dintic and these guys kind of fall apart like we saw SSG? Is this for real, or is this pause kind of just telling us that maybe something was going wrong on that one? Didn't go the way they felt, and now they're going to be right back at it. I don't know. I'd be so surprised if both of these teams took L's today.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really tend to see that thing in the global series. You're pretty dominant all the way through, but a couple of these teams, you know, like in the case of, like you said, Blazing Cassars losing a couple to the PPL. You know, you have these teams lose massive parts of their team, as well as others just continuing to get better and better, and that's something we expect to see a little bit more of as these teams play each other more consistently.
And it seems like for whatever reason, they're back. Like, whatever that pause was about has fixed whatever was wrong with Guimas, and they fully win that point fight now. And they're ready to zone. King Kaiser, Tricksword, one of the names I haven't seen much of, and haven't talked much about in Brazil. But Kaiser holding onto the buck, still doing a good job of being able to 1v1 and hold down this left-hand side.
Shield goes up. Fernando's in the combination. That's going to try and take the Cathedral, but Buck slams his head together.
Oh.
And he's back in business. Skullus here. Shot away from dying. Maldamba's right there. Kaiser not sure who he wants to shoot for. Might leap after this.
Smart.
He will. Finds the kill. Guimas Academy comes out on top. Slow and steady. Wins the race. 2 low targets now in his face. Enlightenment as well. Picks
Great.
it up.
Oh,
Slides
great.
in. Gets the kill. Slides out. Doesn't make it back to his homies. But pulls a lot of value while he was in town.
Got a great amount of damage, though. I mean, and you get your reset on, your ultimate, you get your kill. I love it. Immortal used just to take away the seismic crash. Payload's only 40% of the way. I don't know.
That's the difference. It's close to being all super worth it because I concur that the hardest part of this map is getting that pick and trying to break this base, trying to break through the portcullis.
Right.
It all happens a little bit too early, and you can see Guimas Academy trying to hold on to that momentum off of Tricksword's pick. But it's just a little bit too early. I think no one could be on the payload as well as following up on a lot of that.
I mean, if you're going to do that, maybe it just charges, but you got to do that when the Leon is sliding back. When that Enlightenment moment happens, that's when you need to press gas. For Nada. Kai can be still holding things down as well. There's another Enlightenment, and it gets another kill. So that's the benefit of using it earlier on. You get it again, and now you're able to stay alive.
The dome shield comes out, but it gets kind of walled off. And it's really just Kaiser over there on the Buck waiting for it to drop. Not exactly accomplishing a lot.
Right.
Sapeka's going to fall. Kickby's here laying down Hellfire from the back line. No one is really going to be able to pressure him from this distance unless it's Leon. And she's been really, really busy with the front line and dropping Enlightenments down below.
We saw some moonwalking right there. Michael Jackson at the BET Awards. I'm getting flashbacks here. King Kaiser able to go ahead and just put some pressure onto the Zen. It feels like he's got a retaliation for every day, every time that he needs to. There is no moment where he is without that sword in front of his face. But how long will it last for him?
Man.
Another counter.
You're just seeing an R pay off here, I think. She's just been out in the open, hanging out, and even against a Willow, that's what we talk about. On paper, it should work. It should be so effective. But sometimes maybe you miss that dead zone slightly. Maybe, she just gets out of it, throws at the wall. You can play around it a little bit with Inara.
Right.
And she was just buying so much time. Nada just couldn't be displaced.
I honestly think that's where we see, and I hope that when the Willow is played, it's being played so much now that she's going to be a champion that people kind of have an awareness of and know how to play. Not like a Cassie, because that's just too old school, but something like a Leon, where you kind of know how to play Leon now, and you know what you need to be doing. And I think Kai could be, if he takes a situation like this and realizes, man, I'm using my Nightshade all the time and trying to kill Buck and Leon and Cassie. I'm not really using it on the Inara. Maybe you just take the Blast Flower. Maybe you realize that I need to dead zone the point and then just try to Blast Flower my duels, because that's really what I'm picking this Willow for, to counter the Inara, and I'm not actively doing that.
Dead zone's still dead zone without Nightshade.
Yeah.
Day. Just lose out on the burst damage. Fate comes through. Find a little bit of damage, and Tricksword goes for style points, but he simply can't find it. And Kickby up by the skybox at the moment. He is at max height.
Wow.
Drop back down. Leon was close to this area, but he just has to hunker down. Hope no one finds it.
This is not a good look. And again, onto the Buck, trying to get damage, but that's where the Nightshade, that's where the dead zone has been going. It's not on the Sonara, and that's what's shutting, I think, this point fight's potential down for Pro Air. Guimas in control. 72% counting. Sapeka trying to just hold it. We have not seen very exciting performances from Barracks today in Brazil.
Stop the payload.
No contest there. Guimas Academy, 100-0. You find him. And now Skullus just has to back off as well. Was he? Okay, he's running Yomi.
Can I see Skullus' loadout, though? I have just been curious what he is running. In case there's anything that I wasn't experienced with, but no. No, pretty standard.
All according to plan.
All according to plan.
I don't know, maybe Guillotine would have been a good look here, because he's not exactly penetrating the back line.
Exactly.
Maldamba's not really lending itself to that. That's really where you want the Genos.
Mother's Grace, ouch.
Fluffs it off. And, that's that moment where you just don't know what happened, I think, as it takes you a minute to process that as in.
Yeah.
Inara, man, pretty good.
Pretty good. A lot of ways to do a lot of things. And when it works out, it usually like really works out for her. And when it doesn't work out, she's still able to turn things around, because if you just take your eyes off her for a moment, she's going to live all day long. It's one of the benefits of being a rock. Even when people aren't looking at you, you still live.
Cons. Pros and cons. Skullus gets nothing done with that whirl. I don't know if he hit the door frame or what, but he got completely stalled out there midair. And Kaiser did make quick work of it, send Fernando back in a spawn. And it seems as though the fat lady may be singing for game number 1.
You know, with a nice kill here from Dintic, and with Kaiser continuing to be successful, it's going to be a rough one for Pro Erd to really have a handle on. We must take the set, or at least game 1, relatively convincingly. Now game 2, map 2 is coming up very, very shortly, so we'll see if this continues or if this goes into a best of 3. Game 1 wouldn't indicate that. I was just going to say, in Latin America, they already have Kaiser. What if they just find a guy named Permanente? And then you got Kaiser Permanente.
What is that, like an insurance
Yeah, it's
thing?
like an insurance, yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, in Latin America, too,
have any-
Permanente, that's, I feel like that's actually how you say permanent in Spanish.
It is.
It could work.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
They speak Portuguese, though.
They do, which would be a permanentage or some crap like that.
Something close.
Something like that.
I wonder if you can just Spanglish your way around in Brazil with like
Brazil
knowledge
is just
of Spanish.
You could definitely do that, because most people in Brazil
They
have a
speak
knowledge of Spanish, even if they don't
Are they
speak
close?
it.
Like
They're very close. There's just a different enunciation for a lot of words, and there are very distinct words and phrases in Brazil in Portuguese. It's not the same by any means, but it is
Right.
very, like, if you know Spanish, you can get around in Portugal
Right.
and Brazil, and if you know Portuguese, you can get around in.
Like I took a bunch of Spanish and like learned a couple of Italian words. And I'm like, there's like a lot of like
There's a lot of similarities.
crossing up here. Plus, I also play Heroes of the Storm in Italian, so I hear a lot of things that I'm like, that's like a Spanish word.
Yours
That
are
sounds-
dead.
Yeah, that sounds Spanish to me, but I don't know. I loved it. I always thought like maybe I'll learn something. Maybe I'll pick it up if I like play all my games in Italian when I can, but
Did it work?
it's not really happening.
Oh, man.
Because the phrases they're dropping in in my video games, like I would play Diablo in Italian too, and it's like I don't know if like hearing Diablo scream at me in Italian is gonna really resonate. And that's gonna be a learning experience for me.
If that's like a tourist, tool for like
Yeah.
how to go to the bathroom. Like where's the nearest restroom? Diablo's not.
Stala biblioteca. Lightning breaths me. Ah!
Donde está el baño? You never know.
Oh man.
DLC.
When's the Italian voice pack coming through from Paladins?
When's the Italian champion coming through from Paladins? Just the guy's just pizza, dude. Pizza.
They
Joe.
finally got Chef Vulcan in Smite.
They did.
After all those years.
They certainly did. I mean, it took
Oh,
a lot
it's a good
of
day.
campaigning, but it worked.
What's like the meme skin we've conceptualized but haven't
We
made?
haven't done.
Remember that Bee King, Bomb King concept from like way
Oh,
back?
that's super cool.
That
Yeah,
one was really cool.
I think I even did a video showcasing. That was one of my favorites. It's an awesome one. Bee King is cool. There's so many really cool skins that actually kids who are younger in school draw on like their class paper and they send. There's quite a bit of those. Some great ideas. And here's Lex here from Pro Erd trying to mix things up. We've seen the Talus be a big part of Brazil today for RC Soldier and their squad, and now it's going to be a part of Wimus.
In terms of Lex, he's one of those characters that I don't really play against it enough. When I do play against a good Lex, I just get kind of dumpstered. You just
Right.
It's so
You don't
easy
see it.
to sleep on that damage that he can put out, especially with the Genos behind him. And trying to track him down is real. Like, he's, I think, just one of the fastest characters in the game. Most people build a lot of the move speed and sliding around. It's already low cooldown. He can really frustrate you if you run into a good one because it's not a very commonly seen character.
True. And he's got Luminary now and some Torvald. Definitely could work for him. It's a thanks Grandpa, at least to start. And that just...
And man, that'll do the trick.
That'll do the trick. Discovery. Consistent. Helps to make his left click. Lex kind of has a dead ability as well in terms of that Discovery. You don't really rotate it, but you can.
His ultimate's close as well. You remember like when Lex came out and was played, but like we went almost like a whole LAN. We got so excited just to see someone cast the ultimate.
Right. Yeah.
Because no one was even bothering.
Oh, no. I agree. And with Luminary, he's going to win a lot of these duels, but Dintic I mean, just outmaneuvers him as the Talus.
That's surprising he was able to kind of win that from across the way there. Talus is not a character that does well from range. But with unlimited ammo,
Yeah,
who needs a fall-off curve?
exactly. And he's playing this staircase really well. Torvald should go down here. He needs a recharge. Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Damn, that was close.
I mean, I would have probably stayed and died because you just want it, but he's playing competitively. He's already done his job. They've got the objective. That's all you needed there.
Sliding away, King Kaiser finds the final bolt in the coffin. Kaiser finds 2, and now Dintic below Drogos. Always in danger of being 2-tapped. Tries to get out of the way of the fire spit. Has to blitz up his way back onto the on the map.
Oof. Sometimes that is a scary proposition, but always great when it works out. 2 minutes, 3 seconds now. Guimas making quick work of ProErd, at least the first point on Bright Marsh. Get ProErd stabilized. They have a lot of members low. Dintic finds Zepeka again. This Lex hasn't worked out.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
And you wonder why.
I-
Maybe it's as a result of the Torvald, that SSG kind of were running there for at least the first half of that game, not being there to bubble him. And now that I think back, the first thing I saw was Lex get bubbled and then just still lose that fight. He slid off the stairs though, used up most of his shield's duration. I don't know. Could be better.
Yeah, I mean, Tricksword and Kaiser have been really impressive as well. Kaikabi finds Dragon Punch on Nada. That'll maybe slow it down. It opens up Kaiser to finish off the Drogo, so how dominant can Tricksword be right now in this one moment? That's going to make the difference. Midair, he's got to find it on a Kaikabi. Oh,
No
wow,
way,
he gets
dude.
it.
Come on.
Nice play,
You
man.
can't lose that.
Nice play.
You really can't. I spent like being above a Willow is good for you. Being above a Nightshade Willow is that much better for you.
Yeah.
Because Nightshade is nigh useless from low to high. You have to direct impact someone mid-air with your dead zone projectile.
Not easy, and he just finishes it off with some easy basic attacks, man. I mean, it's one of those where you look at that and you look at that moment, and that maybe just symbolizes the set.
With so much pressure going on the front line, Dintic's able to very aggressively use inner strength here. Very close rune of travel that he has no intention of using for safety. And I mean, look at that. He just burns right through the Torvald bubble.
Gets the
back at
overcharge.
it.
Yeah.
50 damage across the way. It's not a lot. But like we said, unlimited ammo, being able to be so aggressive with your rune of travels, using them exclusively for the purpose of resetting cooldowns, and he's just got insane uptime of firing that damn SMG in this fight.
Right. And the damage reduction, too. I mean, it was also Zepeka who was poking him on the right-hand side, and he just couldn't get enough damage. I mean, it was really just a lot of things playing for Dintic. If you look at his cards as well, I'm sure he's running Guts, which means at that point, it was about taking 48% less damage than usual. I think he knows that last time it kind of worked out for him, so he didn't want to be too predictable here. So far, Kaikabi,
Wow, the tracking, man.
I mean, absolutely
He didn't
just
miss.
eliminated.
And that's tough against Stroke. Like, you see that. Could be 2-tap there. Dintic playing with fire quite
man.
literally. But he's just not missing.
Yeah.
Swift Spirit's around the map, too. Feeling real good about himself.
So good. That is such a great feeling, man. On any champion, you're getting that 35% extra movement speed and
See
healing.
him in Spectator, you know it's impactful. You see him just take off.
Yeah. And
And
that
you
might
love it for him.
and that might have been the one that he lost right there with the bubble, but he's just got the Rune of Travel to get out. I mean, it's weird, but Talus is working so well against this, and Talus is one of those where I think is going to be in the flank position of like a Leon, where he's always available, never banned, never picked until the end if you want him, and I think he's got some uses on certain maps that are still applicable.
I mean, do you still put Leon in that category after summer?
I put Leon in the category of that only because I think what she did is her stock rose so high after it was being undervalued. It rose so high, and now everyone's thinking about a couple of other things before they think about Leon. You can kind of still get Leon. I don't think she's banned at all.
I'd agree with that.
But I would definitely put Talus in the position where I thought Leon was prior, where she is always available. He's always available, and he is valuable. But he's relatively undervalued for how often you can get him. And how decent he is. He's a decent flank.
The right map.
Yeah.
He's a map guy for sure. We saw Bonkers struggle on Serpent Beach with it.
Yeah.
But Dintic is not having any problems. moving around, getting where he needs to be.
Yeah.
Here on the Bright Marsh. Not a lot of guys really play him. I mean, Bugsy plays it a little bit. Who else?
We've seen Balker play it. I think Elvin Path has played it as well, if he continues to go
he
into
used to
that.
love that pick, man.
I don't know if we see a lot of people in Europe kind of, I don't think anyone on Navi really owns it.
Perdeaux played it a little bit.
Perdeaux plays it a little bit. That's, again, NIP, though. They've kind of got that culture.
Ooh.
Gets the final kill, but it's Guimas Academy, unfortunately, for Kaikabi, who take the victory just like that. Pretty easy, 2-0. That's going to do it for our PGS broadcast for Brazil today. Guimas Academy will take themselves a win. And so that will put all 3 teams at the top, outside of ProRed, who have now taken 3 losses, or 2 or 3 losses.
I think you're right. I think it's 0-3.
At the 2-1 position. So Brazil just got a lot more interesting, ladies and gentlemen.
That's cool.
And so did Europe, to be honest.
I mean, that's what you hope for.
Yeah.
That's really what you did. I personally wondered. I'm like, I don't know. How much this is going to do by putting, these top 4 teams against each other week after week. It'll certainly help because these guys will, get a little bit more experience playing each other. But I don't know if you really go in saying, oh, SSG, they're going to start losing games. Kanga, they're going to start losing games. Blazing Asars, like all these top teams that have dominated these teams month after month after month, all of a sudden start dropping games.
Well, as you took a quick look at the schedule there in your time, you can see a great matchup coming up tomorrow, Kanga and Despacito 2. We've got Ba and Big Ego, Isoflorix, Ferocity. Pretty much everything in on Wednesday is pretty fun.
Yeah,
so make sure
that's
to
a good
tune
day.
in because we'll be casting that one right alongside you, riding with you on the action in the Paladins Global Series. But we have so much more coming up today. The PPL starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can check that out at live.skillshot.com to make sure you see all the top-tier action. Big matchup today, Virtus Pro NIP. Cannot wait to see how that one goes.
I'm excited for it as well, man. Teammates, old school, squaring off against each other. Doesn't get any better than that.
All right, guys. Well, we'll take a look at the PPL and the Paladin schedule for the rest of the week. You just saw it there, but make sure you join us at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Rene. That's Pretty Air. As always, never give up, never stop gaming. We'll see you all in the realm.